And now, Giants Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn.
All right. What is going on, everybody? Good evening to each and every one of you here on this Thursday night, Giants Sports Talk Live. Giants win today, Glenn. How about that?
Hey, Eric Romo.
What's up?
Well, the Giants won, but will the real Blake Snell please stand up?
That was rough, huh? Just a little bit?
You should go for a bathroom break when the game, the first inning, and I was like, what I miss? He didn't last long today, Eric. A guy who, the revelations around Giants land that, my God, he went his longest stretch ever in his career, threw a no-hitter, and we're back to the other side of the fence again. Eric, what do you go? I think he went one complete.
That's it. One inning. I think in that one inning, he threw about 500 pitches. It was incredible, man.
I told Carter. Carter was messaging me earlier, our old buddy. And I said, you watch today. You watch. He said, you made a point in the broadcast last night, Glenn, that I took note of. And that was, do you remember me saying, Eric, that the Arizona Diamondbacks, when they step into the box, they take pitches. They make you throw pitches. They make a pitcher go deep. And today, he went deep into the first inning.
Yeah. Well, it didn't help having that defense behind him either. It was Keystone Cops.
Man, they took pitches.
Keystone Cops out there. You got guys throwing the ball all over the damn place. Has
there ever been a better pitcher, Eric? A better pitcher who throws more walks than him.
Well, he didn't. Well, it was only one inning to work, so it's hard.
He was dealing walks early. We had runners at first and second, and boy, you know what? We were lucky we got out of the first inning the way we did.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the guy swung at strike three with 2 outs, and Bailey couldn't field it, and then he throws it away. But to Bailey's defense, he had what? Didn't he have three? He had all the RBIs today, right? I'm pretty sure he did, right?
Snell labored 42 pitches in one inning, Eric, and that was it. And there had to be, what's going on, Eric? 42 pitches. I know that's not a day's work.
No.
And that was it. He was done.
But you know what? I think, to be honest with you, I'm going to tell you something right now. That was a smart move to pull them out after that first inning.
Yeah.
Because the season's done. Look, they're not competing, so why keep throwing them out there if and risk injury if you're not going anywhere? So to be honest with you, I agree that they should have pulled them after that first inning. It was 42 damn pitches. It's like why waste them? Why waste them?
The unsung hero of the ball game, Landon Roop.
Yeah, he did fantastic. Hey, you know what? Let's get in since we're talking about it.
And now, today's Giants in Review on Giants Sports Talk Live.
All right, here. First off, Giants 3, Diamondbacks 2. Arizona only had 4 hits, 2 runs. Giants, well, the beginning of the game, you would think the Arizona Diamondbacks were going to get 14 hits, but they only managed 4 hits. Giants, 9 hits, 3 runs. Again, that last run coming off in walk-off fashion because of Patrick Bailey. It was good to see Patrick Bailey do something today. Box score, there you go. Yastrzemski got 1 hit. Ramos 1 hit. Conforto 2 hits today. Not too bad. I think, as a matter of fact, he had a double on there. Chapman had a hit. Our Mr. 6 year. Wade Jr. no hits. Wade looked rough today. Fitzgerald 2 hits. Again, still shining. Look at that. He crested the 300 mark. That's nice to see. And Bailey with 2 hits along with 3 RBIs. So, I mean, I guess you scored enough.
Can I interject with a question right off the bat, Eric?
Go for it.
What's going on with the lineup?
Honestly, the lineup, what does it matter?
Conforto up batting third. You've got Fitzgerald dropping like an anchor. Well, I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know.
To be honest with
you, Fitzgerald, I'll never change my tune. Fitzgerald's my leadoff man, Eric. Batting 300, slapping the ball around. He was another 2 for 4 today. Do you need a 300 hitter who's producing, dropping into the lineup down to the, what is he, in the 5-6 hole today?
Honestly, at this point in time, doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is Are we going to see Luciano Matos? And the answer today was
Nope.
no. There we go. Back to, I don't know why they're doing the platoon thing. Just throw out Luciano every day. I don't care. I don't care where the Giants are. You got to throw Luciano out there every single day, and they failed to do that. They put Wisely out there. So what? I mean, what?
Yeah, no, we've said it before. If you're gonna do the platoon thing, it's got to be, to me, a platoon is situational. They live and die by it. I mean, they've already died on the sword. The season is over, and they're still doing this, Eric.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it. Just throw the young kids out there and see what you got. Come on, just
and they keep throwing the weaknesses. The weaknesses are at the bottom of our lineup. Look at that. 0-4. 0-4. I don't know. We got the weakest bottom lineup in baseball, Eric.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Justin Kerwin. Yeah, did you see what Justin's talking about? Now I'm feeling it. 1 for 14, Eric.
Yeah.
I've read this book. It's just another chapter of another chapter in the season, Eric.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
how many
won.
people showed up at the game today, though, Eric?
Let's see. 27,871.
I don't get it, man.
Nice summer day. I don't know, man. I don't know. Hey, let's get to the storyline. You were just talking about it right before I brought up the box score for today. Of course, we already talked about Snell. He looked bad. But Landon Roop, you were talking about that. Look, he goes 4 innings, only allowed 1 hit, struck out 5, walked 2, but he had a good outing. I liked what I saw from Roop today.
Yeah, he was our unsung hero today. He got us to where we were to a chance. And I know there were other pitchers who pitched well today. Miller, Rogers, Duvall, not bad, but it was Roop. Roop came through, came in early, ate the innings, only gave up the 1 hit, gave us a chance to win it late in a close ball game. And I give a tip of the hat to him coming up for the minors not that long ago. And he's showing us something today, Eric.
Exactly. I like it. And he was locating his pitches. His curveball was fantastic. And he was able to locate his fastball. So that's all you can ask. That's all you can ask from that kid. I like what I saw today from Roop.
No, we'll see where we go from here, though. You get a guy who pitches like that, shows us the flash, and then, reverts back to his old ways.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's got to be consistency. Ibrahim comes in talking about Wisely here. What benefit do you get playing Wisely? We know who he is. He's a role player. Play the guy that's been to your. I think
it might be play the guys that's going to benefit, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm guessing. Yeah, play the guys. I guess something to that effect. I kind of get what you're talking about there, Ibrahim. But you need to see what you have in Luciano. You got to keep putting him at second base. Is he? It got caught up. No worries, Ibrahim. You don't know if Luciano is going to be your second baseman. We don't know. That's why you got to play him there every day. Yeah, sure, you got to take a day off every so often, but come on, you got to put him out there every single day.
The winning hit.
Whatever.
An unsung hero of all sorts. Bailey brought a bat to the game. And is this true? He set the MLB record in August with the worst average in OPS by a catcher in all of Major League Baseball history. Just kidding me?
Yeah, and he was 0 for August. So it was a bad August. But again, he had a good game today. So, I mean, I'm not going to bash him hard today. Now, is he breaking out of something? I don't know. He's going to have to show more. One game is one game. Now, if you're doing this over a week and then over a month, okay, okay, maybe you got something back. I still think that injury was nagging him for a while. That's what I'm guessing.
It is true. What do you do? Now, Patrick Bailey has shown he can't hit steady. He has a good 2 weeks, Eric. But when you have a sensational 2 weeks and then you don't do well for 2 months and you have another great week and you go in the tank for a month of August. What does that tell you? And what do you do? What are the plans long-term in the catching position here? Are we all in on this guy or not?
I got the feeling that they are all in on Patrick Bailey. That's my guess. Could be wrong, but I think it is. I think the reason why, but here's the deal. I think he needs to get some more days off in between games. Then that was the purpose of Tom Murphy, right? He was supposed to be a guy that's going to help out Patrick Bailey in times. Unfortunately, he got hurt, hasn't been back. He isn't going to be back. It was a waste of $4 million this year. Again, it was injury, so I get it. I mean, look, it's It's not like it's not. Well, then again, before he got injured, he wasn't exactly doing much.
I certainly
anyways,
didn't like
but-
what I saw early from him, Eric. The
Yeah, that's
first
what I was just gonna say.
3
But
weeks
then
of the
again,
season.
that was back in May when he got injured, so it's kind of tough to blame him. It's just
Eric,
about
but
her.
Eric, it is still, like I call it chapters. You go back to the start of the season. Go back to day one, the opening series. We were in San Diego, and I was there. And you look at the lineup then. It has changed dramatically, Eric, but a lot of similarities. Who did we have at shortstop? Who did we have in right field? Who did we have in left field? There were so many glaring problems in a roster right from opening day, right out of camp, Eric. And I don't know if we've gotten any better.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't. And this offseason is going to be telling. It's going to be telling. Jesus says Luciano is more athletic than Wisely. I don't know if he's more athletic. The issue I have with Luciano, he's a lanky guy. And I haven't really seen. Yeah, he stole a couple of bases when in his first call up. Okay, that's fine. But since then, I mean, does he seem? I don't know. Maybe I just need to see more. Wisely seems pretty athletic, but again, he's just a guy. Luciano's supposed to be your future, so I want to see what he has. You got to give him some more run.
See, now,
Well,
Abraham usually brings
up,
it,
Bonzer?
and he's bringing it right here, Eric. But Bailey was great, called up first few months, great again, started the season. It's a lack of rest. They need to build him up. I think the injury was more than they said. Well, if you're injured, you're getting the rest, Eric.
You are.
So I don't know which way he's going here.
We'll see. I think because when you pull an oblique, you're going to be down for a while. You can't swing the bat when you got an oblique. You're not swinging the bat very well. It's just not. And thank you, Michael. Yes, I see you in there. That's why they should have. And guess what? They brought up Sable and they brought him up to sit on the bench for 2 days, and then they sent him back down. I don't understand that.
I don't agree with Carter either. Listen, right now, Eric, I'd take a Will Smith over Bailey any day. I'd love to have Will Smith, wouldn't you?
I don't know. What is he doing right now? To be honest with you, I don't know how he's been playing. To be honest with you,
Will Smith's a winner. I would if he was available.
Then again, you got to think about he's surrounded by a lot of good players as well. Exactly.
Well, if we're going to talk about small sample size, Luciano can't catch the ball. Play him every day.
Yes.
Give him his month.
Yes.
I want to see if that statement holds up the day after the season closes, Eric. When we do our year in review and our report cards, Luciano can't catch the ball. What if he goes on a tear, Eric? We don't know if he will or he won't because he's not.
Unless you play him.
And where the hell is Encarnacion now? Oh my God. He's like Puxatawny Phil. He comes out in one afternoon and he goes right back into the shady dugout. We don't see him again.
You got a point there.
We saw him Sunday and Eric's like, oh, look, it's Encarnacion with his canary shoes on. And then we haven't seen him again. Oh, Eric, I don't know.
I don't know, guys.
We do the same thing every night, man. It's just such a repetitive issue, isn't it?
It is, but at this point of the season, it doesn't matter.
All right, last night, Eric, we broke the news right here on Giant Sports Talk Live that we had signed a guy to a 6-year contract.
Yes.
At least you're smiling now. Last night, Eric was fit to be tied. We're going to put you in a straitjacket and haul you off.
Dude, even this morning, I wasn't happy. But I'll tell you what.
You near passed out doing the morning show today. Eric, how are you?
But
you were trying to hold it together. Oh my goodness.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I've been thinking about this ever since the Chapman presser. And there's something that I keep thinking about. We'll have to talk about it here. Should we do it now or should we do the out of town scoreboard first? What do you think?
Do it now. Get it out of the way. I want to get it out of the way.
Okay, we'll have to because we're gonna have young Casey should be joining us here shortly. I don't know if you guys saw him about a couple of weeks ago. We had Casey. He's a big Giants fan. He's a USC student, and I might have him come on. Maybe we'll also go over the whole Chapman, the Chapman extension as well. I want to hear what he has to say. Also, see what he says about the team ever since we talked to him last. All right. First off, let's first things first. Let's do this real quick. Let's do this, okay? You know who that is, right? Here we go. Just take a listen, guys.
Along those lines, do you feel part of your role now as a leader on this team is to kind of help spread that message? Because, as we know, San Francisco, the Giants, it's been a talking point that it's a hard place to sell for some reason.
Yeah, definitely. I've already had people reach out to me saying that, now that I'm here, that they want to come here. So I don't think that it's going to be a hard sell. This organization is amazing. They do everything they can for the players, and we have a lot of good players. And I just think that, we're going to continue to build here. And, I think that people will see that from the outside, and I don't see that ever being an issue.
Okay. What do you guys make of that? I want to hear you guys.
I've always wondered about this, Eric. Look at that. Now he's in front of the San Francisco media, right?
Correct.
Talk about the degree of professionalism. I'm the manager of the company, Eric. I don't even have a nameplate like that in my office on the desk. Oh, you get your own Matt Chapman and San Francisco Giants. They go all out, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Okay.
Oh, wow. Now
let's listen to what do you think about what Chapman had to say?
Well, I told you earlier today, Rogers Sportsnet in Toronto, they're reporting that the Blue Jays are after Soto, and they are reporting that the team to beat will be the San Francisco Giants. So you are not alone, my friend. Word in the Great White North is Giants and Soto, they may have a little love affair.
Well, if you think about it, I'm hearing what he's saying. I'm looking at his mannerisms. He doesn't look like he's making it up to me, right? Does it look like he's trying to sell a bag of goods? He's making eye contact. He's not. He looks like he's sincere in what he's saying. Okay, here we go. What is the one thing that a lot of people say about Matt Chapman? What is his? What do people say about Matt Chapman? I want to hear. Glenn, you could say it while we wait for the chat.
What do they say about him?
What do they say about Matt Chapman?
The most commonly, I don't know what you're thinking. The common thing that I hear is he can't carry an average. I don't know.
Gilbert Gamboa, he's a class act. He's a professional. He's a clubhouse leader, correct?
That's the word among all the other players that were interviewed about the situation today.
Correct. So he in other words, he has character and credibility. Okay. Now, yes, I understand. He got a huge extension, 6-year extension. Just because you get an extension, does that mean he's going to go out there and tout the Giants? Or do you think he's going to come out and just say, just because they gave me a bunch of money, I'm going to start spouting out a bunch of lies? So if he is sitting there saying that people are reaching out to him ever since he signed his contract, do you say it's phony baloney? Or are you taking it at face value? Because I have no reason to not believe Chapman. From everything that I've heard about the guy, he sounds like, a class act, a professional, a clubhouse leader. So it sounds to me the guy is speaking with authority. So tell me, guys, do you have any reasons to doubt what Matt Chapman is having to say about potential free agents wanting to come to San Francisco? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you smell what I'm stepping in? I mean, there may be something to this. And here's another thing. Yesterday, I still don't like the years. I don't. The 6 years is miserable.
I can't see him not tailing off, Eric.
But he's going to have a good 3 years. The fourth year, you might start seeing some degradation in his Michael Roeder. I believe him. I do too. Okay, here we go. He walks the walk, he talks the talk, Jesus. Correct. So I give that to him. So here we go. So he got a 6-year deal, $151 million, right? Now, are you guys willing to take those extra 3 years talking about going from just 3 years to 6 years, if it could guarantee you that you guys that the Giants get some pretty damn good free agents.
Yes.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Because what is the
Especially
one thing
when you're dealing with Boris?
Here? Yes. Okay. Here we go. So what is the biggest issue? Money. What is the least biggest obstacle for the San Francisco Giants? Money. Okay. So that being said,
What did you say? What is the biggest issue?
what's that?
What did you say?
It's not their biggest issue is money.
Right. Oh, I misheard.
Here we go.
Absolutely.
Here we go. If those extra 3 years allows the Giants to pluck a few more free agents, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Yes, absolutely. Right? If you're paying him to piggyback players in for the 3 extra years, why the hell not?
Okay. Oh, Mark Graves, look at this. He's full of crap. Happened late last night, and guys are already talking about maybe going to San Francisco. You know what, though, Mark? Is he full of crap? I'll tell you why. Because did you listen to the Boris interview? And I'll tell you why that's important. If you didn't listen to what Boris said to Alex Pavlovich, then you will understand. They've been working on this deal for a month. Okay? And I think the timing of this is a little bit suspect, but whatever. Because the Giants are tanking, so they're looking to get a little bit of good publicity by doing this. It kind of diverts people's eye off of what the Giants are doing out in the field by doing this. So there's something at it. But they've been at this for a month. So don't tell me that Matt Chapman is not having communications with other players saying, hey, I'm working out a deal with the Giants. This is what I'm hoping to do. Guess what? You're going to be a free agent next year. Maybe you might want to come to San Francisco. We're just, I know it's taken a while. We're hammering out the details, but it looks like I'm going to be extending over here in San Francisco. So maybe this might be a good place. This is the vision that they're having. Who knows? I'm not privy to the conversations that players have, but there's something there.
Well, he makes a take.
He said what Farhan. No, I don't think he said what he wanted Farhan to say. I don't believe in that. Because again, it's his character. And that's one of the biggest things. That's one of the biggest things that Chapman has for him is he's a character guy. Why would he damage his credibility and his word and his honor, if you will, to lie for Farhan? He's got no reason to lie for Farhan. No way. Farhan's done enough to destroy his own credibility. He doesn't need Chapman to go out there, and Chapman doesn't need to do anything. And to be honest with you, I think this is more of an ownership deal than a freaking Farhan deal. Farhan may be being pushed to the side, even though he's the president of baseball operations. It makes me wonder. No, it's because that's not Farhan, Mark. I think ownership had to do with this. I think Farhan's getting pushed aside to a certain extent. That's what I'm thinking. For this deal to happen, ownership 100%, of course, they always got to sign off on this, but I think they pushed this more than Farhan did. That's my take. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but again, I don't see Chapman going out there just to do you really think, is he the kind of guy that's going to sell his soul to lie? Is it out of the realm of possibility? No, not at all. He could absolutely be doing that. But I just think Chapman, I'm going to hold Chapman to his word because he hasn't proven otherwise. Have you ever heard him come out and say some ridiculous stuff? I haven't. I haven't not heard Chapman come out and say some ridiculous stuff. So I got no reason to disbelieve what he's saying. So we'll see what happens in the offseason. Does it do something? Now, I think this contract is speaking loudly to other free agents, showing, hey, maybe the Giants are open for business. And again, 100%. I know that, Mark. I understand we've been duped, but you got to take each situation for how it comes to you. Understand, in the back of your mind, okay, we understand what's going on here, but then we just got to let it play out. That's all we could do because we're not in the driver's seat. We're just sitting along for the ride, hoping that they're going to make the right decision. It's up to them to make that decision. All we could do is say, you know what? We're San Francisco Giants fans, and we want better for the team. So I'm going to always advocate what I think is going to be best for the team. Does it mean they take that path? No, it doesn't. Not in any semblance of what I'm saying here. But I just hope maybe there's a turn here. Maybe there's a turn. And Farhan may be back, guys. Yes. But it makes me wonder, is he going to be more in a diminished role? Here's another thing that I've been thinking about too, along these lines. Glenn, I don't mean to go on so long.
It's all right. I'm taking it all in here. I'm just happy to see Mark Graves spend a lot of time with us lately.
Yeah. What's up, man? Yeah.
Good to have him here.
When I was talking about Farhan being in a diminished role, maybe that's the path forward. And here's the deal. Maybe ownership, they don't want to lose face, right? Because remember, they're the ones that came out last year to give Farhan a 2-year extension. Okay. So if they fired him this year, it looks bad on ownership just as much as it does with Farhan, the job that Farhan's done, correct? So you keep it on if you want to keep him on for one more year, but he doesn't have that authority that he's had in the past. Maybe someone else is starting to pull the strings. And then afterwards, then they let him go, right? Then they let him go. Again, you know how ownership is. These guys are billionaires. Some of them are billionaires, and they don't want to look bad. So if you fire Farhan, you look bad. And if you just ease them out after next year, okay, then it doesn't look as bad, right? Again, saving face. Does it mean that's what they're doing? No, it doesn't. I don't know. Again, I'm just spitballing. But we'll see what happens. The only thing we can hope is that Farhan is not in as much power as he has been, because even if they say they do land Soto, if we still have Farhan in president of baseball operations in the capacity that he has been in the past, I just don't like that.
Eric, we got Chapman now locked in. We've got Lee. We've got Ramos, Fitzgerald.
Mm-hmm.
If we re-sign Snell, and everybody is all in on Webb, more so than me, and then a free agent signing or two. Eric, maybe we're not that far off.
No, I didn't like Edison. Yes.
Fourth grade.
I didn't like that deal. I still don't like that deal. I don't like that 6 years, Edison. I don't.
We don't.
But
like
are you listening to what I am saying? After listening to what Chapman had to say today, which wasn't last night, I started thinking about this. I still don't like the 6-year deal. But if those extra 3 years allows the Giants to get a couple of more free agents that are worth something, I'm all for it. Edison, would you tell me this? Would you take an extra 3 years of Matt Chapman to land Juan Soto for 12 years? 100%. And that's correct, Red Poopy. Actually, it's Poppy. Red Poppy, you're absolutely correct. Everyone, that free agency, everyone overpays for free agency, man. That's the nature of the game, man. That's the nature of the game. Nature of the game.
Yeah. 6 years, Eric. Maybe it's not so bad. Like I say, if you piggyback somebody else in here, he carries somebody on his back in here on a 6-year deal, I'm all in, Eric. Especially if it's a big name like if it's Soto, Eric. Mm-hmm. If you bring in Soto, say Soto comes in.
Sorry,
here,
Poppy.
As a result, if you got Soto coming in here, Eric,
yeah, go ahead.
After this signing,
and
you say, "Well, did we overpay? Did we give him too many years?" Factor that money into Soto anyway. It's damn worth it.
I agree. Right?
I think it's
Come on.
So worth it.
I'm sorry, Poppy. Red.
Oh,
poop
Mike, I'm on the
is
Soto
classic.
train. Eric has got me on the Soto train for sure now. I'm definitely on this Soto train.
I tell you what, man. Look,
And don't tell me, Eric, don't tell me the Farhan Zaidi. It's a daily trend on our chat, but don't tell me he can't sign free agents. He signed Snell. He signed Chapman. He just re-signed Chapman for 6. So he's
Chapman, that
signing
had
guys.
nothing to do with Farhan. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Farhan had nothing to do with this Chapman extension.
Well, I'll tell you one thing it tells
it
us,
was all
Eric,
ownership.
is that
All
players are willing to play here.
That's what he's saying. That's what Chapman is saying, right? Chapman has come on record. He's stated it on record. Here, you want to play it again? Here we go.
Okay.
Listen to what he said. Here we go.
Along those lines, do you feel part of your role now as a leader on this team is to kind of help spread that message? Because, as we know, San Francisco, the Giants, it's been a talking point that it's a hard place to sell for some reason.
Yeah, definitely. I've already had people reach out to me saying that, now that I'm here, that they want to come here. So I don't think that it's going to be a hard sell. This organization is amazing. They do everything they can for the players, and we have a lot of good players. And I just think that, we're going to continue.
Okay. There's another thing I just noticed. What did he exactly say? He didn't say after he signed a contract. Did you hear what he said? Now that I am here. So in other words, now that he has signed with the Giants, that could have been after last year. Look, free agent, what may have happened since he signed with the Giants, maybe there was other free agents reaching out to Chapman asking, how is it in San Francisco? Because again, he's been here the whole season. So he didn't say they reach out to me after signing the contract. They could have been talking to him throughout the entire season. And like I said, supposedly, according to what Scott Boras said, they've been working on this deal for a month. So people could be reaching out. He could be reaching out to people. So here, I'll replay that.
A talking point that it's a hard place to sell for some reason.
Yeah, definitely. I've already had people reach out to me saying that, now that I'm here, that they want to come here. So I don't think that it's going to be a hard sell. This organization is amazing. They do everything they can for the players, and we have a lot of good players. And I just think that, we're going to continue to build here. And, I think that people will see that from the outside. And
we're going to continue to build. Hold on.
I think that people will see that from the outside, and I don't see that ever. We're going to continue to build here, and I think that people will see that from the outside, and I don't see that ever being an issue.
So,
all right.
It is what it is, guys.
I'll take his word for it.
The guy has not been proven to be a liar. Everything everyone says about this guy has been nothing but he's a class act. He's a professional. He's a clubhouse leader. I have never heard one bad word be uttered about Matt Chapman. So take it for what it's worth, guys. No, Lethal. The issue that I had was the years. I said I didn't mind 3 years. I just didn't like 6 years. And then they had the press conference, okay? Now, who are the players? That's a good question, D-Shot. That is a good question. Now, if you saw the thumbnail, here, let me throw that out there real quick. Let me see. Where the hell is it at? There it is. Not that one, this one. Give me a minute. No, you don't build around Chapman. I agree. Okay. This is what I put up. All right. Chapman reveals he has already heard from players interested in playing for the Giants. Got Soto on the left and Vladdy on the right. There's a reason why. There's a reason why. He's played for both of those guys, right? He was his teammate. Right? Was it the no, he wasn't a teammate of Soto. Never mind. What am I talking? Yeah, no, what am I talking? He's a teammate of Vladdy. Not a teammate. But there is a connection of Soto and Melvin, because Melvin and Chapman are pretty good buddies.
Eric?
So maybe there's a connection there. Maybe there isn't. Who are the free agents next year? You guys ask. You want to get into that, Glenn, or do you got something to say real quick?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You're
Let's-
on a roll.
Let's see what we got
I'm
here.
soaking it in.
Let's see what we got here, guys. Free agents.
You're gonna have
next year.
Bichette.
Here we
Bichette
go.
will be on that list.
Let me bump it up here. I don't like that. Gosh dang it. Whatever.
Okay. Scherzer, no. Verlander, no.
Nope.
Cole,
Cole, no. Juan
Yes.
Soto.
Yes.
Look at that. 26 years old. Blake Snell.
He's a maybe.
Cody Bellinger.
He's a no.
Does he opt out? Probably
He's
does.
a no for me. You sign him? I say no. Eric, when they could have got him on the cheap before and they didn't ante up and pay him, they ain't paying now. That he's going to ask for more. If they're not signing guys at one tier of a contract and they're coming back for more, I say Bellinger completely a no. And Paul Goldschmidt, people in the chat have been talking Goldschmidt, throwing his name out there. Goldschmidt is, Eric, he's in the twilight of his career.
He's talking about coming back next year. Yeah, that's what he was saying.
No.
Would you suffice with Bellinger as a DH?
No.
Okay.
No.
Fair enough.
Not interested.
Fair enough. Not interested. Teoscar.
You've had your chance to get a Bellinger. We had a chance to get him last year, Eric.
Yeah.
And
Teoscar.
we didn't show an interest. Ooh, Teoscar. He's hitting the ball good, isn't he?
Yeah.
Teoscar Hernandez.
Gotta be 32. Gotta be 32.
Teoscar Hernandez, a former Blue Jay.
Correct. And I think Chapman played with him, right? Pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Corbin, no. Robbie Ray, he's back. Pete Alonso. What say you about Pete Alonso?
I don't think you can. Eric, if you're looking higher up that board, you can't sign them all.
I know, but there's only who I'm just looking who the Giants can sign. Yeah, I agree. No place for Bellinger but DH. Alonso, he's going to cost you a pretty penny, and he's 30 years old compared to Soto, who will cost a pretty penny, but is only 26.
Unless you've got somebody down on that list that's going to slide up the board here and wows me. Alonso, no. Bregman, no. Morton, no. Rizzo, no. Giolito, no.
Okay,
no.
The only thing I would do with Alonso, he can't be at first. You can put him at first base until Eldridge comes up. Once Eldridge comes up, then you can move Pete Alonso to DH. Right? Would you guys be happy with that? That's a potential? We'll say is that a maybe? What do you think? Or a no? Are you a hard no on Alonso? I mean, you need a first baseman. He could suffice until Eldridge comes out and he could be your DH afterwards. Right?
So if you sign him, who are you? Eric, you're talking about signing 3 and 4 free agents now.
That's what the Giants need.
Yeah, maybe what they need,
right?
But let's be realistic. That is not what they're going to do. I'll be happy. Eric,
Probably.
I'm happy to get 2.
Probably.
I'll be happy to get 1.
Would you be happy? Okay, if you're just to
You're
get
setting
one,
the bar a little high, aren't you, Eric?
That's what I do, man. I set the bar high. I'm
Freaking
tired.
Olympic pole vaulter here.
I'm tired of building a roster to win a damn wild card. Done with that.
Grand Admiral says he'd rather have Wade at first. There's enough. Jesus, no.
He had a good game today, but I don't.
Nope. No.
But again, you could sign Alonso for first base for next year. In 2026, Eldridge comes along. You can move Alonso to the DH spot. That is something you could do.
Well, you must be tickled pink when you see Marcus's post.
Who's?
He says just sign Canada a 1-year deal and put him there with Wade at first.
Oh my God. Okay, here we go. Okay, so
moving right along.
I will say Alonso possibility there. Bregman, no. You already got your third baseman. Charlie Morton, no. Anthony Rizzo, no. Lucas Giolito, no. Matter of fact, he's recovering from. Wait a second, he's recovering from Tommy John. So guess who's going to be on the phone with Lucas Giolito? That's it. Again, that's if he's pulling the strings. Michael Conforto, enough said. Nathan Eovaldi, no. Reese Hoskins,
nope.
Unless you make him again. It goes along the line with Alonso. He could be your first baseman for next year. And in 2026, move him to the DH, and you got Eldridge at first base. You could do that. So
what are his numbers, Eric? What are his numbers?
Who? Oh, Reese is he's had over 20 home runs. Hold on. His average is really bad though.
Yeah, I don't know.
But everyone's average is bad.
I'm not in on him. Now,
So
Corbin
who would you
Burns
rather
is
have?
coming up on the list, Eric.
I know. Who would you rather have, Alonso or Hoskins?
Alonso.
You would have You'd rather
Those
have
take
Alonso.
Rocket
Okay.
appliances to figure
But
that out.
Reese could be a cheaper version of Alonso. I'm just saying that could be an option.
Yeah, but Eric, now you're talking cheap again.
No, because he could still bring something. Remember.
No.
For me, this is all predicated on getting Soto first. These are going to be your second primary. Right here, Soto on top, and then get another guy after that. Alonso may be too much. Hoskins, you'll probably get cheaper, and he could be okay at first base until Eldridge comes around. Then you got a lineup of Soto and Hoskins and Eldridge, along with Ramos and Fitzgerald and Jung-Hoo Lee. You're cooking with something there. That is not so bad. Now, if you could trade for freaking Vladdy, that's a whole different. That just takes it to a whole different level. Again, he's not a free agent. That's a trade you're going to have to do. He'll be a free
I'd
agent.
rather go out and work at the trade than look at some of these free agents.
Okay.
You're getting down the
Okay.
list now, Eric.
You know what? That's fine. Josh Bell, no. Marcell Ozuna, the guy's having he's having an MVP type year in Atlanta.
Yeah, club option. He's going to be
He's going to be back. Kelly Jets, no. Frankie Montas, no. Michael Walker, no. Corbin Burns, going to be
Maybe.
30 years old.
Maybe.
I
would rather have Max Fried than Corbin
Max Fried?
Burns, to be honest.
You'd rather have Max Fried. Okay, so
Yeah.
either or. You're going to have to get one of those guys, right?
Either or.
You're going to have to. Or Snell. I don't see that, though. I just don't see this.
You're leaning toward Mitch Haniger anyway, so.
Mitch Haniger.
No one's leaning in Mitch Haniger's direction. Hey, look
Ryan-
who's coming up on the list, Eric?
Mitch Haniger.
No.
Jack Flaherty.
There you go.
Ooh, okay.
Jack Flaherty.
He's a decent pitcher, and you probably could get him cheaper than Fried, Burns, or
Yes.
Snell.
I
Would you
wouldn't
guys?
mind
Okay.
Flaherty.
Chat. Okay, here we go. We're putting our list together. This is our Christmas list. I know I'm dreaming big, Anonymous. I know I am. I know. I can't help myself. Come on. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and talk about marginal. I'm tired of the marginal plays, guys. Done. It's over. I've seen enough. It doesn't work. Okay, here we go. Soto, Hoskins, Flaherty, right? Are you happy with that so far? And then make a trade?
Not me.
No? Why not?
Because you mentioned Reese Hoskins again.
But look, okay.
I'm a hard no. But
Okay.
we can still talk.
Okay. Soto, Alonso, Flaherty.
I'm thinking to be realistic, and people will say we're not realistic. Soto, Bichette, Kim.
Oh, you got Bichette in there.
Vladdy, you got to work out. Who knows what they're going to want for a Vladdy? Even if Vladdy, I don't think is even on the table for a trade, Eric. I don't think Toronto's just going to give up on him. The guy had a hell of a summer.
Correct.
And he's 25 years old.
Red Poppy, those marginal plays work when your foundation is solid. Yes, Zaidi builds his roster backwards. That is correct. Red Poppy, that is
What
correct.
did I tell you today, Eric? They
He's
interviewed
more
Farhan
worried.
Zaidi today on NBC, and he said, "We've got a guy to build around." And I'm like, No.
No.
You signed Chapman to be around your big
No.
guy. He's talking like Chapman is the big guy.
See, you know what's weird? This is the weird thing is Farhan loves to work the 40 man, right? But you know what? You know where the focus needs to be? 1 through 9, right? Come on. You gotta in your 1 through 9, you gotta have 1 through 5 every single day. 1
Fitzgerald.
through 5 has to be every single day with an occasional day off. Every single day. He, again, as Red Poppy alluded to, he works at the bottom of the roster. He works, number 30 to number 40 rather than working number 1 to 26. He's backwards. That's why there's got to be a shift. And maybe that shift is happening, right? Maybe that shift is happening. Maybe Farhan, even though he has the title of president of baseball operations, maybe he's being knocked down a couple of notches. Because honestly, this whole Chapman deal, I don't see that as a Farhan move. I don't. To me, it seems like an ownership move. I could be totally off, but that's what it seems like to me. I think they totally circumvented. I think they circumvented Farhan completely.
The buzz in Toronto is not really Bichette. They're not talking about Bichette or Vladdy. They're only talking about the Giants in on Soto. That's the only thing that they're talking about in baseball right now.
That's interesting. And that's
you got to remember the Blue Jays are down and out of it, Eric. So all they're talking about in Toronto on Sportsnet radio right now on a daily basis is the Canadian Football League, the Toronto Argonauts, and the Ottawa Renegades.
Who?
Yeah, well, and you're talking about they're already full bore. The training camp, Eric, is getting underway in a couple of weeks. 2 weeks' time, you've got training camp for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's all they're talking about in Toronto.
Yep,
and then
absolutely.
It just came up today that the Toronto brass said, yeah, we'd be interested in talking to Soto, but it will be a tough sell considering San Francisco is going to be hard in on that player.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting.
So if word coming out of other teams, Eric, is that the Giants are the big draw for Soto, hey, why not?
Look at Rick Brown. Says Willie Adames and Anthony Santander. You could go get Anthony. You could get Willie. I don't know. What do you think? Here, let's bring in Casey, man. I'm going to bring in Casey.
Free agent, Eric?
Who?
Santander?
I think he is. I think they talked about that. I saw that.
Is he?
I'll have to find him. Hold on real quick.
Santander will be back with Baltimore.
You think? I guess if they go to World Series, maybe. All right, let's bring in Casey.
What's
up, Casey? How's it going, man?
How's it going? Long time
hey,
to see.
Thanks for joining, buddy. You're
right
among dreamers here today. We're signing half of Major League Baseball's best players, apparently.
Yeah, no, I caught a little bit of it. I mean, it's all exciting.
Oh, let's go. Let's get
right. It's exciting.
Right.
Isn't that what we need in San Francisco right now? Right. Hey, Casey, you see that poster right behind you, Steph Curry, right?
Yeah.
Right next to Steph Curry, you know what would be awesome? Is a poster of Juan Soto in the orange and black.
Hey,
right?
I mean,
come on, man.
Not a bad idea.
Come on.
Yeah, you know what I like about Casey? He's not a casual fan. He's an authentic fan.
Oh, yeah. Other side. Yeah.
I like
that.
Yeah, I got
there it is.
one up here.
Yeah.
There you go.
I miss when they used to
Next
give those
to
out. They don't do it anymore. They don't do that anymore, right? I haven't seen the authentic fans.
I don't go to the game all the time, Glenn. Do they do that authentic fan
the cheer
posters?
cards?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I've got every day you'd have a different one, and now
they
don't even do the media guides I have the media guides from the first year they came from New York, and up until COVID, I have the whole bookshelf each year, and now Eric, it's save the planet, so they can't waste the paper.
Whatever.
Don't laugh. I'm serious.
I know.
Cheer cards. Oh, we can't print them anymore because.
All right, Casey, a couple of things I want to talk about Giants, but the news of the day, of course, is the Matt Chapman extension. What's your thoughts on the extension, man?
Yeah, I mean, off the bat, I think it was, it comes at a good time just because I feel like the Giants know that fans are very disappointed in not just the outcome of what the season is going to be, because the playoffs are looking like, less than 1% at this point. But I feel like also just how badly they've been playing lately. I know they won today, but they've been playing just very badly lately. And so I think it brings a little bit of energy to the Giants fan base. And I think that's also important considering just the Farhan kind of controversy. If he's trying to save his job, which it seems like he, of course he wants to keep his job. So I think for him, like it's an opportunistic opportunity to say that, so to speak. But I also think like it gives a lot of Giants fans certainty. Like we haven't seen power in this lineup consistently in a long time. And Chapman this year has 22 home runs, an OPS in between 700 and 800. He's he had a pretty good game today. Like he's just been so consistent, and he brings that defense as well. And I think third base is a position for the Giants, and they're not specifically loaded on. I think Casey Schmidt's a guy that other teams could be interested in the offseason. I've seen a lot of talk about possibly trading Casey Schmidt. And so I think, and I honestly wouldn't be opposed to it. I think his value is low, but I argue it's the highest it's going to be right now. It's sort of like maybe a Joey Bart situation where it's like you want to squeeze all the value out of him. And I feel like he'll be good somewhere else. But I think that's besides the point. I think, honestly, I think it's a great signing. I think they splurged, but I think in an era of baseball where power comes at a premium, I think you have to splurge. And I think having him 6 years is interesting because, we're going to see guys like Bryce Eldridge and James Tibbs and other big power guys come up, assuming they pan out over the span. And I think Chapman will be a really good mentor for those guys. I think he's a very mature baseball player. I think he's a good guy to have in your clubhouse. And so I think it's a good signing, but he will be older. He's going to be approaching like mid 30s, into his close to his 40s by the time the contract's up. Right. So, I think he's a generally consistent power hitter. I think for the Giants, though, we saw this year leaving too many guys on base was a problem. And I'm not saying Chapman was part of that problem, but I think they're going to have to stack the depth. I think Chapman's just one piece of the puzzle. And you guys mentioned Juan Soto and other guys, but I think it really comes with locking down consistent hitters, like more Tyler Fitzgerald's, Elliot Ramos's, guys like that can bring in Chapman when he gets a leadoff double like we saw him do today. So, yeah, I'm very happy with the signing.
Nice. The issue I had last night was 6 years, man. I was like, what is going on, man?
Yeah.
I was pissed, man. I was going off. It was even this morning, I was still pretty pissed. But then I heard Matt Chapman's press conference. The guys in the chat have already heard me mention this. One thing that Matt Chapman brings to the table, his character. He's a clubhouse guy. He's a professional. He's he keeps it pretty straight. He's not a guy that goes out there and says some crazy stuff. He's a leader. That's one of the things they talk about too. So when he came out and said, I don't know if you heard it, he talked about how he said ever since he's been here in San Francisco, he didn't specify when he signed the contract, just since he's been here in San Francisco. And to piggyback on that, Boris also in his interview today said they've been working on this deal for a month. So that there's some talking going on amongst players. Players talk to players, right? So Chapman was probably talking to other players saying, hey, the Giants are looking to extend me. I'm going to get a pretty good deal. San Francisco could be a good spot for you. This is the plan of where we want to go. So, and then I started changing my mind. I was like, oh, look, if those extra 3 years to make it 6 is going to allow the Giants to be able to go and get some more of these free agents or make some trades, then I'm all in. I'm willing to sacrifice that extra, what is that, $70 million, whatever the hell it would have been extra on top of this, because Giants got money. That's one thing the Giants got. Yeah, the years are going to suck, but if you're going to get some top flight, I mean, if you're going to be able to, let's say it, if you're able to land Juan Soto, again, it's not about Chapman per se. It's about the Giants going out there and spending that money, right?
Yeah.
And again, a side effect is that you got Chapman, who's a great clubhouse guy. So maybe not only are they getting played, but hey, I love playing with this guy.
Yeah, and I don't think they're signing him. I don't think they're signing him for years 5, 6.
No, it's not 5, 6, and 7.
They're doing that. It's the price you got to pay to lure the other players. He's just a pawn in this game.
Yeah. And I mean, let's not forget too that
you're paying him for his presence is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. You're paying, and the defense too, I think, can't be emphasized.
And the defense.
And I mean, I don't know how much this affected it, but from a financial standpoint, if we're looking at the nuts and bolts, they got rid of Soler pretty handily. And I mean, it's not like Soler was on a long-term deal, but he still was eating up a lot of money that could be used for guys like Chapman. And I know Chapman was rumored to, be seeking out other teams as well. So I think that's big. And I think, I mean, it begs the question. I wonder if you guys have talked about it. You do re-sign a Boris client. Blake Snell, I know he didn't do good today, but he's a Boris client and he's going to be so highly sought out. He's going to be one of the biggest, if he does, assuming he does opt out of his contract. I wonder how that affects stuff because you talked about Matt Chapman potentially luring other players just because of this contract, whether it be a Juan Soto, whether it be Anthony Santander, highly sought out, coveted players in the offseason. I wonder how that affects Snell because maybe he'll take a more team friendly deal. But I feel like with Snell, it's hard because he's just so inconsistent. But I think it's interesting that a Boris client got, that type of we don't see that. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how now does it mean all this is, I don't know, man. I'm just spitballing. I'm just hoping, because right now it's the way the Giants have been, even since the last time we talked about you. I mean, the bottom has just fell out, and there's got to be a change. There has to be. And honestly, and as I see some people talk about it in the chat, Chapman should not be your quote unquote, the guy you work around. Glenn, you talked about that. You build around a guy like Soto. That's who you build around. You don't build around a Chapman. You get Soto, and with, Chapman is a piece. I've seen this being used, part of the puzzle, if you will. But if you are able to go out there and get Soto and get another guy, look, am I asking a lot? 100%. 100% I'm asking a lot. But the Giants have a lot to be able to spend. They got plenty of money to spend. And hey, if you have to, make a trade here and there. If you have to, would you be willing to trade for Vladdy? Because again, I don't know if he's going to be all that expensive, considering he's only got one more year left, and then he's going to hit free agency.
But what scared me today was when Farhan was interviewed by NBC, and he said, "Now we have signed our player for 6 years to build around." To me, that's the wrong philosophy. He's the build-arounder. He's not your stud. He's the guy that should be a cog in the wheel.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like they're approaching it that way.
Yeah, and I think that kind of sort of begs the question, maybe for you guys. It's like, who do you see as the foundation of this team? Like, I look at guys like at least on the position player side, right? Because Chapman does have very good numbers, and I completely agree with you. He should not. I see him more as a tool to make you a contender, not the foundation. But I mean, yeah, I look at Elliot Ramos, Tyler Fitzgerald, but I think the problem with those two is it's just such a small sample size. We haven't seen those guys play 4 or 5 years and be consistently good. So I think for the Giants right now, it's hard. They don't really have an identity. They don't have a Juan Soto or an Aaron Judge, a guy on your team that is going to, if you win the World Series, likely be World Series MVP. I can't pinpoint that. I feel like the Giants have a lot of good players, but not a lot of great players. And because of that, at least on the position player side, like we can talk about Logan Webb and stuff like that, but I think it's really hard for them to attract, and it's not a hitter-friendly ballpark, but at the same time, it's like we see these great teams. They have a stud. They have a player who's going to, be that foundation. And I was alarmed too, Glenn, about just, if that's the bar feels very low if Chapman is your foundation. Yes. Not to discredit him at all. He's a great baseball player, on both sides of the ball. But he, his numbers are good. They're not like all-star level though, I'd argue. So,
yeah, but when you talk like that, you know what it exudes to me? What Eric and I do every night on this show, we talk about this team simply willing to be a 500 team. When you talk like that, you're a 500 team. You're a 500 general manager. You got to shoot for the stars. You're going to want to sign the big guys. Even though we've shown in the past we haven't got them, a lot of people were willing to pay big bucks, and a lot of teams wanted them. So we haven't signed the big superstar. That's one thing. But to sell yourself short as an organization and say we're happy with not getting them. We'll get by, and we'll set the bar here that he is our superstar. I just don't understand. And Eric and I are of the opinion that it's time for Farhan to go.
Yeah.
I just can't stand it. I can't stand the way the way he goes about, constructing rosters and his philosophy. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And if he sticks around for another year, I don't know. Are they like I said, knocking him down a couple of notches? Maybe he doesn't have the pool that he had, because he hasn't proven it. And honestly, does another year or two, does that prove anything? No, it's not. It's not going to prove nothing. So again, maybe ownership is saving face to a certain extent by keeping him on, but his role has been diminished. Maybe.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen any of our talking points, Casey, in the last week. Eric and I actually went to a game on Sunday together.
Yeah, that was
we
fun.
Saw the Webb fiasco against the Miami Marlins.
Yeah.
And here's a club that's not going to the postseason, but yet the general manager continues to play the platoon game and getting, Kana in there. And I'm like, it's time to lose the game by double digits and get the young guys playing. See
I
what
agree.
we've got going into next year. We don't know the pieces next year if we don't know what we got this year.
Yeah,
It
we
pisses
haven't
me off. Something
we
terrible.
haven't seen enough of Luciano. I'd argue we haven't seen enough of Mott. I think Matas is a weird one just because he's been so up and down, literally and figuratively, like in the minors and just his play. But I mean, even like I don't know. I think because you brought up Farhan and I completely agree. I think his drafting history too. Like I mean, you can look. There's so many infographics that talk about how poorly the Giants have drafted, at least in the first round in like the past decade. And I mean, Joey Bart would be one. There's it's pretty bad. Yeah, there's a lot that just hasn't.
What
gone
is
their
it?
way.
Tyler Beatty.
Yeah.
Who was the other one? There was a whole bunch of first rounds. Christian Arroyo, I think, was a first rounder or a first pick. Eldridge may look like except that guy is going to be something.
He's a beast.
I hope. And that's why.
AA.
And this is what I've been saying this for a week now. Imagine having the combination of Soto and Ramos, and Fitzgerald, and Jung-Hoo Lee, and then eventually you get Eldridge. All those guys are somewhat the same age, all hitting their prime at the right time. I mean,
And one or two of those free agents we talked about too,
yes,
or a trade.
I don't know how good the trade is because the Giants again. This is the issue as well with Farhan. Look what the Dodgers do day in and day out. Every single year, they draft well. They trade all these guys away to get MLB talent, but yet they still have the number one or close to the number one farm system, and they keep just replenishing it, keep trading them, keep bringing. I mean, they just know they use their prospects as capital, as you should to a certain extent, right? You got to be able to, of course, pinpoint who your guys are going to be that you want to be part of your future, but they just know how to take care of business, and that's where the Giants are lacking right now because they don't have that firepower in the minor systems that really get some of these big trades done.
You know what? Something you piggyback on that, Eric, is one of the things that the LA Dodgers have shown in the past, and again this season too, is when they have young talent. They will bring them up for 2 weeks and showcase them. And then they make their deal. There were a lot of guys who played last season in September and played during this year who moved on to other teams this year. The Dodgers do it a different way, Eric.
Yeah, they do.
They do it a smart way.
They know how to – they spend the money, but they also know how to take care of business. But look, I said there's three things, right? You got to be able to draft and develop, you got to be able to trade, and you got to be able to hit on free agency. If you can hit on all three of those efficiently and the right way, you're cooking with gas, man.
We haven't been doing any of that though.
Well, doesn't seem like it.
Do you guys think that like Giants brass that like ultimately would hold the future of Farhan's job, at stake? Do you guys think, amid the Giants signing Chapman, they're kind of putting his hot seat, I guess, down a few notches on the temperature scale, or how do you guys think that the Chapman signing affects his tenure?
See, and that was my biggest fear as well last night. It's like this just solidified Farhan sticking in the president of baseball operations. I did not like it. But like I said, when Chapman came out, unless Chapman comes out to prove to be a liar, I have no reason to doubt what he said during the presser, saying that there's players talking to him about coming to San Francisco. Is it lip service or is it legit? And until he proves otherwise, I'm gonna believe, because everything, like I said, everything that I've heard from the guy is that he's a good guy.
Casey, you should have been with us last night. The show started for the first 45 minutes with Eric on a tangent saying to everybody in the chat and myself that Farhan's gone. And then there was a spot in the show where he went, hold on. And then the Chapman signing. And then we had an hour and 15 minutes of, now we're stuck with Farhan.
Yeah.
So it changed on a dime. Snap of the fingers, Eric went from, he's gone. Oh, God, we're stuck with him. So how quickly things can change. So hopefully they can sign somebody to at least make a trade.
Yeah.
And bring some quality big piece. Now, Eric, what do you think about it, Casey? Eric's been all over Snell coming to San Francisco. Reality or fantasy?
I don't know. I think realistically a fantasy, just because, the opt-out, like it feels too convenient to me. Like you're playing with the exception of today, he's playing the best baseball he's played probably in a year, at least a year. Of course, he won the Cy Young last year, but throwing a no-hitter, following that up with multiple performances, it feels so convenient for him to go out and chase a bag. And I know he's getting paid by the Giants, good money. But I think for Snell, a guy who has kind of met the ebbs and flows of, being on the Giants and just being on a losing team, I don't see any reason. Like, it feels so convenient for me for him to opt out. But at the same time, like, the hope that I have comes from Chapman's, testimony today and him sort of talking about like this, my signing, my, loyalty to the Giants extends beyond this season. I know, he sort of silently admitted like, we're not a very good baseball team, but, I'm committed to this team. I love being a Giant. I don't know if Snell has that same demeanor. I don't think he does, just based on interviews and, like Snell's been on multiple teams before, but I do think it would be very convenient for him to say, hey, I'm playing really good right now. And he's, for a few weeks was the best pitcher in baseball. So I don't know. I think it's a long shot, but I wouldn't be surprised if he came back.
I'm talking about Soto.
Soto.
Oh, you're talking Soto. Oh, you
Eric's
said
been
Snell.
all on Soto,
Yeah.
and everybody says you're living in a fantasy world. The talk on Toronto radio today is Jays really want to go after him, but their GM is saying, I can't compete with the Giants. So
yeah, I don't know.
If word around Major League Baseball is the Giants are going to be all in on this guy, maybe Eric's onto something.
With Soto, like, I don't know. I don't think he's going to Toronto. Just because of history. Like, I feel like Toronto doesn't sign big names really, and I don't know if that's like a Canada thing or like taxes are high there or something. Like, all jokes aside, but I feel like him returning to New York, like, it feels right for me because I know like, Judge, would have had the same conversation a couple years with Judge, and I think just for like, it's a hitter friendly ballpark. He's probably going to go on a deep playoff run, and I think baseball aside, like, the Yankees are going to put up the money. So I think, like, sort of to give you a quick answer, like, I think it's a fantasy just because the Giants have missed out on so many names, and you combine that with the chatter and talk about Oracle Park and how hard it is, compared to that of Yankee Stadium. But I mean, they're going to put up the money. They're going to offer him probably the same money. We saw with Ohtani. They're going to offer him money. I don't think he goes. I think he stays in New York personally. I think it's a good place to play if you're a power hitter, and he's found success there. So, and I mean, with Jazz Chisholm, we don't know how long he'll be there, but he's really building something special over there too, as a deadline acquisition. So
I agree with Eric. I agree with Eric. You don't go in there during negotiations. You start the negotiations. You say,
You gotta be
legitimately, here's what we're willing to pay. We're not screwing around and paying a few $100 or $1,000, $1 million more. We're going in heavy and let the other guy, because we have traditionally, right, Eric? We've traditionally been the ones that, we'll pay $1 million more. Like, go in heavy. You start the ball rolling. And I think that's something the Giants and Farhan hasn't done. He's been always nipping at other people's offers instead of going in there and saying, look, here's what we want you, and this should show how much we want you to come here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's hard because I think, like, the Giants are in sort of this in between. And I think, like, and also playing in such a hard division, right? Like, I think it's not the most attractive place to play right now. And I think that's sort of stating the obvious, but I think money talks, but at the same time, it's like, we've seen what's happened with Mike Trout. Like, his whole career has been wasted in Anaheim with the Angels. And, like, he's put up very good stats and whatnot, but I think players see that now, especially in this age of opting out and whatnot. And I think, like, the Giants just don't present themselves. They shoot themselves in the foot as, a team that is not an attractive destination. It should be an attractive destination. They play in probably the most beautiful ballpark in baseball. They have, a winning culture, 3 World Series in this millennium. But at the same time, it's like they put themselves in this sort of pit of hell these past, 3 or so years where, they're not good enough to make the playoffs, but they're not bad enough to sell off and get to White Sox land. And so I think for them, and they have all these contracts, and whatnot, and they have promising players, and they were supposed to contend. And so I think the expectations, players see that, and that turns them off.
Yeah, but look at that. Look at the comment by Victor One. If you were a superstar, you want a ring and get paid. And
Guess
you
what?
know, I don't buy into that. I'm buying
Hold on.
into what Eric started this whole
hold on.
Soto thing off with. Soto and that swag. He could be the king
Come on.
in the Bay Area.
I've said
think
that.
if he wants to be numero uno and
San
have his
Francisco's the
name
destination.
and his likeness all over town, there's no better place to be. He'd own this town. He'd be a Steph Curry in this town.
I agree.
Here's the question. He says, if you're a superstar, you want a ring and get paid. Guess what? Soto already has a ring. So
that's right.
That check or that box has been checked. The thing he hasn't is gotten paid. And that's one thing that the Giants can do. They can pay.
And he played in Washington where he won the World Series. And you know what? He wasn't the big name there, Eric.
It was Bryce Harper.
He's a young player.
Yeah.
He goes to New York.
Judge is the man
in New York. In that lineup. He comes here, and Eric's talking about ripping out the Coke bottle and leaving the glove and a big statue of Soto because he will be Mr. Baseball.
Yeah, I mean,
I see it, man.
I rule out
at 25 years old too. 25.
No, he's got. I mean, that's a guy you have to offer an Ohtani type deal to. I mean, maybe not $700 million, but you want him, until he's late 30s. And I think the Giants will certainly do that. I don't doubt that. They're gonna put all they can into that. And I think Farhan too. Like I talked about it, the stove's heating up for Farhan, and if he still has his job at that point, which we're assuming he will, he's gonna have to make a splash at this point. You're gonna have Jung-Hoo Lee. You're gonna have Jung-Hoo Lee coming back. I think the expectations for the Giants, with or without Snell next season, are going to be more than this season, honestly. That's a hot take, but yeah.
And here's the thing: say you already signed Chapman, and say you signed Snell. Guess what? You had him this year. What did you accomplish?
No.
Right, you accomplished nothing. That's why they got to change direct. They're going to have to go out and they have to make a splash. And then look at this. I set this up, Casey. Could you imagine? You're in Southern California. Say you go to Dodger Stadium and watch a Giants-Dodgers game next year, whatever, 2026. Juan Soto steps up to the box, right?
Here we go.
On the mound is Shohei Ohtani, right?
Right?
Shohei Ohtani throws a fastball inside, dusts him off the plate, right? Juan Soto stares him down. He does that stare down on a pitcher, does his little shuffle, digs back in. Here comes the next pitch, and he parks it in the right field bleachers. How freaking awesome would that be? Seeing that face off, see him giving that little shuffle, and just crushing it. You could transplant that into Oracle Park as well and get a splash hit. That would just be oh man.
Eric, we haven't seen that since Bonds and the Angels in the World Series.
No, correct.
Or in the
What about I don't know if you guys have talked about him yet, but he's also a Boris client, Pete Alonso. Because the Mets they're a good, they're a very good team, and so are the Yankees. So I don't know if that really means anything, but the Mets are making a playoff push. They have a potential, MVP level player in Lindor on their team. Like that, this is the best Mets team we've seen in a few years. But of course, the lingering question is Pete Alonso at first, and the Giants have a big hole, a gaping hole at first base. I think
until
Eldridge comes up, but Wilmer Flores has been awful this year. They haven't had a solution at first. Lamont is, unfortunately, you brought it up earlier, simply a platoon player. And they haven't had an option there. Like, I wouldn't be opposed. I mean, I don't think any Giants fan would be opposed to Pete Alonso coming either. But I think it's one of those things where, Chapman might have big influence. He's also a Boris client. So I don't know.
Maybe you get both. Why not? For going, because you could do with Alonso. I was talking right before you came on. You could always you could have him be at first base next year, and when Eldridge comes up in 26, you can have him as your DH.
Yeah. And I think back to, because we touched on the sort of expectations for this year. Like, people were expecting the Giants to make the postseason, back in February, and this was before we knew what Elliot Ramos and Tyler Fitzgerald were capable of. And I'm not, those guys are young; they haven't accomplished anything, so to speak, yet. But I think it just goes to show that, like, you subtract Snell, from this team, like we talked about expectations for next year. Like, I don't see why they shouldn't be super high. I know the Giants are going to miss the playoffs this year, but you're bringing in, you have Tyler Fitzgerald and Elliot Ramos, two guys you didn't even know were going to be in the big leagues necessarily. this season.
Yep,
So
true.
I think this is a huge, like, this upcoming year, 2025, with or without Farhan and with or without Soto or Snell. I think it's a huge year for the Giants in, getting Jung-Hoo Lee's development up, completely stunning everything and kind of changing the way this team is seen by the media and everyone else.
What's up, Moji? Hey, Casey, you bring up a good point. You talk about how Ramos and Fitzgerald weren't even fitting in a picture of 2024. So that tells you right there, Farhan should not even be part of president of baseball ops, because he didn't even factor those guys in, and only because of injury. And granted, it happens in sports where someone will get injured and next thing you know, it's a Hall of Famer. But still, you should know, as smart as he's supposed to be touted as, what you have in your own damn organization, and you can't recognize it until, something drastic happens as an injury. That's my biggest issue. That's why when I was talking about going to get Soto and trading for Vlad and doing all this stuff, it starts with Farhan being out of here. But now with the whole Chapman being extended, is that giving him a longer leash? Are they still going to maybe move on from him? I don't know, but something here. But here's the deal: if you don't get Soto, then what is the option? What is the option for the San Francisco Giants next year?
I mean, what about Bob Melvin? Like, not to cut Farhan any slack, because I don't want to do that, but like, how much do you guys, to sort of answer your question, like, how do you evaluate Bob Melvin? Like, he's such a storied manager. He's been to the playoffs so many times. He has that pedigree, but even with a very good roster heading into the year, like even before Jung-Hoo Lee got hurt, the Giants weren't necessarily winning ball games.
Right.
And how do you evaluate Bob Melvin? Like, do you? I mean, no, it's been 1 year.
I don't care.
Well, he sure didn't look after the bullpen, in my opinion, this year.
I don't care for him.
Yeah, I agree on the bullpen part. I think
I've been saying to Eric for a month now, it's got to be a clean sweep. Hitting coach, pitching coach, manager, GM. The whole kit and go. And plus, when you get rid of your, if you start with the GM, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a complete shuffle anyway, because the new GM brings in his staff.
Yeah, that's normally what happens.
But like Eric said last night,
I haven't been pleased with Melvin. I know Chapman absolutely loves him because, again, there's some affinity for him because of Oakland. But is Melvin, is he being directed by Farhan? But then again, when he was in San Diego, it's not like Melvin was exactly, putting up manager of the year type of production. He was pretty bad. Was it because it was so toxic in the clubhouse? I don't know, but I haven't been very impressed with the way.
I think he fits right in with Farhan baseball, because you never see him aggressive. He doesn't manage in an aggressive manner, whether it's even going out there and fighting for his players. I told Eric the other night, the most excited or most upset I've ever seen him is on a play. They got a review and he's like, "Hold up, okay." He's never engaged with the umpires. He's never engaged and fired up in the dugout. He just doesn't seem.
Why wasn't Ryan? I mean, look, it's retrospective, but why wasn't Ryan Walker closing games much earlier than?
Man, that guy's showing something, isn't he? Doval is a mess. He's a mess right now. Even today wasn't all that good.
No, he wasn't, and that goes back to, I don't know if that's a Farhan thing or a Melvin thing or what branch of the front office, but I feel like there's so many games that Camilo Doval single-handedly lost the Giants, and I think you put Ryan Walker where he's so composed and calm. I think that goes back to Bob Melvin just not being skittish, being afraid. But I think we talked about so much about Juan Soto, like, and they were both, there's that Padres connection with him and Melvin. Like, I wonder what their relationship is like and how that would affect a potential reunion, if that does end up happening.
Good point.
I don't what terms they're on or how they got along. But
I tell you what, if Juan Soto says, "Hey, I'll come to the Giants as long as you fire Melvin," that sounds bad. I mean, that sounds bad, but come on, man. If that's the only roadblock, I don't know, man. I'm just saying. That sounds bad. Oh, well, if it does. I just want the Giants have to do something. They need to get that guy. And it's not even just about having that superstar, but it's about a guy who's young enough and has the talent that can be built around. That's what I'm saying. Look at Marcus Luong says, "Give me Soda, 12 for 600. Ha-Seong Kim, 4 for 50. Canna, one for $2 million, I'm guessing, and Teoscar, 3 years, $75 million. What say you?
Like that would be a dream, but I don't know how feasible that is.
Giants could afford it. Granted, you're going to be paying at CBT, but you know what? Come on. They across the cove, they got Mission Rock making all that money. The stadium is paid for.
That should be chump change.
Just pay the damn CBT. I don't want to. I've said this a million times. Don't cry me poor. You're a billionaire. Just pay the damn fine and then put out the best product you can, because that's the only way you're going to compete with the Dodgers. With you in your own division, you're not better than the San Diego Padres. You're not better than the Arizona Diamondbacks, and you sure as hell ain't better than the Los Angeles Dodgers at this time.
Yeah. They've got the money.
I want to know, what is the money? If you can't get Soto, what are we stuck with? We're stuck with the same stuff that we've seen the last 3 years. Well,
it's only going to get worse.
It's going to get worse, right?
Guys are getting older. We can't bank on Elliot Ramos and Tyler Fitzgerald. And I point those two out because they broke out this year. We can't bank, and we can't even bank on Jung-Hoo Lee necessarily. I'm going to say that. Like we haven't seen that much. So I think next year, if the Giants don't make a splash, like a big splash, like a Juan Soto, like a Pete Alonso, whoever it may be, like it's only going to regress because guys are going to inevitably get injured. Guys are going to decline. We don't even know how consistent Chapman's going to be realistically. And that's why I sort of agreed with you a little bit on like the 6-year deal thing, because Chapman is such an inconsistent player career-wise. Like when he's on, but when he's not, he's just so average. And so,
and I'll continue to say this: if the 6 years gets you the free agents to make you better, I'm good for it. Whatever. Yeah. But if this is it, if you're going to build around Chapman, the 6-year deal is a mess. It's a freaking mess.
For sure.
You haven't seen my video yet, have you? Have you been watching? Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm it's all good. I am.
Guys, I don't think it's a matter of if they get someone in the offseason through any means. It's going to be who they get. Farhan cannot enter 2025 without making some kind of a major splash. He cannot. I'm telling you, he can't. He knows it. Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
He can't go back to the well with this same group.
No.
So you know what the solution is, right, Glenn?
Oh, I know. That video is aging well.
Oh man. Yeah, I got to. I put that together. I was like, man, I'm the only one that's everyone. I'll say 99% of everyone saying Soto is not coming to San Francisco. And they're probably right. But you know what? I'm the only one that's going to come out here every single day and say the Giants should sign Soto. And Anonymous said the Soto video is the only Soto that is coming to San Francisco.
Eric, take a bow. You got to bring up. He probably hasn't seen my favorite thumbnail.
Oh,
that will go down. It will go down.
I don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen now, though. We're stuck with him. Anyway, here we go. I had this thumbnail out the other day. I got the sinking ship with Farhan and Melvin at the helm. And Of course, coming to the rescue on the Coast Guard cutter is Juan Soto.
I'm here to save you.
But yeah.
I think another thing, like, I want to point out about this season, and I'm sure you guys have talked about this too, is like we saw, like, the Giants came into this year with, you know, a lot of young guys that we were sort of expecting to take leaps. And like, I look at Patrick Bailey, and I know he had a great game today. So maybe aside from today, like, it feels like a lot of the young guys are not showing their capabilities of playing a 162 game season. Like, we saw Bailey last year in his minimal play. Hitting wise, not great, but defense was great. And defense is still great, but I think we expected him to take that leap. Like, that's just not happening, right? And so, and same could be said maybe about guys like maybe a little older, but like Brett Wisely. Like, Wisely started so good, and now it's just sort of inconsistent, like iffy.
It's the length of the season. That's they're not using again.
Yeah,
it's to the pitchers as well. Harrison and Birdsong, both I think are feeling it. You know, this is the first experience in the big league. So
yeah. And I mean, I see the comment about Bailey's defense, and I agree. I don't disagree that he's probably up there as the best defensive catcher in baseball. But when the Giants are leaving 12 men on base, like, does that really matter? I don't.
1 for 14 again today.
Yeah,
that's even though they won 3-2, they went 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position. That's not getting it done.
No,
yeah,
it's not getting it done.
No,
and if you want to be a good team, you got to be able to do something about getting those runners in that are in scoring position. It's not.
What do you think, Casey? You bring up the name.
You
bring up the name, Bailey.
Yeah.
If you got a guy who can frame pitches and can help the pitcher to the degree he does, he's by far the best in the business right now.
Yeah.
But you've got one of the worst catcher in baseball at the plate. Is what's the balance? Do you cut, take your lumps because he can't hit for the catching?
Come on.
At what point do you say, I'm
gonna say,
how important is the catching role?
I think it's important when you have like Logan Webb and Blake Snell on your team. Mm-hmm. And those are guys that can go deep, and we saw a no-hitter, and I think it's important in that standpoint. But I think it has to be like when you're in Major League Baseball, player, like, it has to be complemented with at least serviceable hitting. Like, we're not asking Bailey to hit 320, but we're asking him to hit maybe like 260, 270, and with a solid OPS and good plate discipline. And we're just not seeing that from him. He's striking out a lot. He's hitting pop outs. He's bad at bats. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Let's bring this up. This is going to make my point here. Here we go. Here's the box score, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yastrzemski, batting 242. Conforto, batting 230. Chapman, batting 247. That's what he normally bats. Wade has fallen off. He's batting 263. That's okay. Fitzgerald, 300. Bailey, 233. McRae, 224. Wisely, 239. There's other guys on this team that should be producing. We shouldn't always be picking on the young guys. This is Bailey's actually first full year. Last year, right? He came in, was it, around May?
Yeah.
Last year, right around May. So this is his first full year. So before we start blaming guys like Bailey, you might want to look at guys like Yastrzemski and Conforto, even though Yastrzemski is having an okay year. And Conforto, you signed Ahmed. He was a hole in the lineup. Soler, he was a hole in the lineup. Those are guys that are supposed to be producing. So you're putting more of the onus on the young guys who, are still kind of feeling it out. There's a lot of holes in the Giants lineup that need to be talked about. And, I think Bailey should be at the bottom as the focus, for the simple fact that other guys should be picking him up. Let him do his catching job. And like you said, let him go out there and bat 240, 250. The other guys need to step it up. That's how you have to do this.
Yeah, and I think
Bailey, though, I'd be happy with 250 right now, Eric.
Well, he was hurt, though. He's playing hurt.
And at what point do you say, he's just getting broken in? He's got a year and a half under his belt. Are you going to say this 2.5, 3.5? When do you, Eric? I don't think he's cutting it.
I think the hard part,
if the guy can't hit, he can't hit.
That's true. And you don't have good backups. Like the Giants are going deep, and Trevor Knapp, or to have the name right on, I don't even know.
He's gone. Whatever, he's gone.
Kurt Casale and
Jackson Reitz.
That just shows you how
Murphy,
how bad our catching depth is.
Yeah,
when our number one's not hitting, and we have we have nothing to turn to. There's nothing. And
here's
Knapp
another-
Knapp is a Farhan guy. That's
Yeah.
just he brings him in for 10 days and he's gone. Another guy,
was
10
just a
days
guy.
and he's gone.
Andrew,
They had to bring someone up for the simple
Yeah.
fact that Bailey got hurt with his oblique, and that's where I'm getting it from, Mike. They said he had side tightness. It's an oblique. He's probably fighting it. When they go on. Look at Wade and Conforto. Those guys were still hurting when they came off the IL. They were. But he goes, Posey did not have a problem when he came up. No, but you know what? How many catchers come up are Buster Posey? He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
The dude is, come on. That's the exception. That's not the norm, right? That's not the norm. So, yes, is Bailey going to be the next coming of Posey? Hell no. He's not. And unfortunately, Joey Bart fell in that category as well. Everyone had expectations of Joey Bart. Yes, he was the second pick. I get it. But it didn't work out for the Giants. I get it. But look, let's not compare, and unfairly Bailey to someone of Posey's ilk. Posey was special, and we were lucky to have him as a catcher for the San Francisco Giants.
For sure. And I think too, like Blake Sable's another guy. We
Sable.
We talk about the young guys not really getting a chance, and I know Blake Sable has gotten a chance, but I think at this point in the year, it's like, why not? And I believe he was called up and didn't get any at bats and then sent down again. I could be wrong on that. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think you can cut Bailey a little bit of slack because he's young,
Just a
because
bit.
he has a little bit, and also like he's having to be an Iron Man and play so much just because we have
Correct.
Andrew Knapp and Kurt Casale and all these guys
Right.
shouldn't even be on the roster necessarily. But yeah, I mean, I look at first I look at the right side of the infield and like specifically Tyro Estrada and Wilmer Flores. Like, I know they've both been super injured and been shut down in some cases, but like I look at those guys and think like they only regressed from last year. So I don't necessarily I wouldn't put the blame on the younger guys because we did see
You can't. That's unfair. It's unfair.
Yeah.
You got to go after the guys who are getting paid the big bucks, so to
Yeah.
speak, even though there's not very many of them on the Giants. But you know what I'm talking about. The veterans, the guys who are getting paid to be veterans. Those are the guys you got to focus on.
I'm still happy with the amount of money we paid. Like the extra, I don't care about 6 years now. 6 years, if it gains us a little latitude on signing someone else,
Yes,
then so
only
be it.
on that fact.
And 25
Only.
million should be a pittance. Because if you can go out and get Soto for 50 to 60 million a year and you're paying Chapman 25, just go and get it done. But the bottom line is Chapman is not your superstar.
No. And here's the question, guys. If you do get Soto, and guys in the chat, tell me, who would you get rather than Soto? I'm going to hear it in the chat. If you're all the guys who are saying we're not going to get Soto, tell me who you get then. Just tell me who you get. Or
And
are
you
we
know what
just
we're going to
that
have at
far
first
off?
base next
Okay.
year, Casey?
It's going to be
You know
Wade.
what we're going to have at first base?
Probably going to be Wade. I wouldn't be surprised unless they
It's
trade.
it's going to be Flores and Wade platoon.
Flores and Wade.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
it
not
didn't
going to.
work.
They're not going to send Flores and his big contract walking this year. I'm telling you right now.
Tom Murphy Jr. Willie Adames. You don't build around Willie Adames though. Willie Adames is a guy. But here, this is my premise.
I think what Eric's asking is who's the
Who's
big
the
gun?
guy? Who's the
Big gun?
guy?
Who are they building a statue of outside Oracle Park?
Yes, exactly. Who are they naming Oracle Park after? All right. So if you bring Soto in and you lengthen the lineup, does that not help Chapman have better numbers offensively?
It absolutely does. Like,
Doesn't it? Right?
It does. It does. I mean, it fixes
And-
the LOB problem.
That's why I said if you traded for Vladdy, if you could get it done, or if you want to go get Willie Adames, whatever, something. If you get a couple of more bats in that lineup, one of them being Soto, another one being another decent bat, you lengthen the lineup and you providing protection. So then you bat Chapman in the 6 or 7 rather than the 3 and the 4. Because you're not going to succeed with Chapman in the 3 and the 4. You will succeed with him in the 6 and the 7. Right? Am I wrong? Oh, look at that. Anonymous Anonymous said it right before I freaking said it. So there you go.
You're right. You're right. And I mean, I think like we look at the bottom of the lineup and like it's easy to like, these past few weeks to look at it maybe a different way than we did earlier in the year because like guys like McRae got called up and McRae, like, I mean, He's been really hard to watch lately, but he was looking pretty good when he came up. But I think it goes back to what you were saying, like the Giants kind of do this thing where they create a lot of excitement, the early innings and whatnot, but then it completely dies. And I mean, even from a guy like Soto, he's only gonna get a hit, 1 to 2 times a night. So you're still gonna have to supplement that with depth. But as we've talked about, that the bottom of that lineup, when guys like Chapman should be there, a guy who normally would be there, him having to be at the top just creates so much more pressure. It throws everything off, and the depth not being there just it eliminates all that excitement, and they're leaving guys on base. That's a story that we've seen over and over again this year. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What did you think about that comment somebody just posted and brought to light that statement after I think it was the day of the trade deadline? Eric and I we just launched this brand new channel
on the trade deadline,
the eve of trade deadline. Then we did a full afternoon of trade talks, and there wasn't a whole lot for the Giants. So for us, it was more like MLB trade talk, not Giants trade talk. But immediately afterward, our night show was just like, oh my God. We played the clip 4 or 5, half a dozen times. Farhan said we had the best pitching staff in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, he does that all the time. See? He does. He had to do that. Honestly, he probably even know I think he just thought of it at that moment, trying to justify why he didn't do anything at the trade deadline.
Eric calls him a liar. I said, Eric, I think he believes his own lies. I think he believes.
No, he does, but it's still, you can believe your own lies. It's still a lie, though. Jesus says the Giants are committed to the young Giants. That's the best way to.
Well, then why aren't they playing every day, Eric?
Great points.
We're committed to young guys, but sit on the bench.
No, they're not committed to the young guys, man. If they were committed to the young guys, you would have not seen Slater. You wouldn't have seen Yastrzemski. You wouldn't have seen Conforto. Come on.
That's something that Eric and I are really pissed off about. We go to the ballpark Sunday, and I go, look at this. Well, I do that every day. I'm at the majority of home games, and I look at that scoreboard. I got a perfect view, don't I, Eric, from my seat? Perfect view of that scoreboard every night, and I go, holy crap, if this was a chicken or this was my turkey at Thanksgiving, it's pretty lean. There's not much meat on the bone with this lineup.
It's tough, man. Being a Giants fan, it's tough right now, man. The only thing we can rely on right now, 2024 is a wash, man. It's done. The only thing I want to see. There's a lot on the plate. You know what, Eric? I'll make a list for tomorrow's show. I'm going to make a list of those factors that Farhan has. Like, why were they making a move with Dalval 2 weeks after the trade dedeadline to just send him to the minors when 2 weeks before the trade deadline, you didn't know you had a problem. Yeah. They knew they had a problem.
They may seem like little things, but hell, if you got to send your closer, who you consider your ace closer, to the minor leagues, didn't you know there was a problem before the trade deadline?
There had to be. I mean, because the problems were there before. I mean, like nothing
but
changed.
They weren't being addressed. They
Yeah.
just weren't being addressed.
Exactly.
Roku, man. Succinct. You're succinct. F this team and organization. It's tough, man. It really is. And like I said, it's just all you could do is hope that, they're going to turn the corner. But
and consistency
I don't know, man.
too, right? Because I mean,
consistency.
Yeah, because
yes.
I know I'm seeing comments about the young Giants, and we can't. We already talked about this. We can't put too much flack on them for lack of production. But it is true though that you look at Matos, you look at McRae, and get to preface it, all different sample sizes, but like McRae, Matos, Luciano to some extent, consistency hasn't been there, and that's why people wonder why these guys aren't getting consistent spots in the lineup, and I somewhat agree. But consistency isn't there, and I think next year is going to be a big turning point, like we talked about with Bailey. If you give Matos a whole 162 and he does the same thing he did this year and just kind of have a good little start and then fall off, I think that's a quick indicator of the culture of this team, which we already kind of know, I think. But I think it'll show that the development of these prospects is just not moving at the direction at all.
No, it's not. That's why there's got to be a change. There has to be. Anonymous, what's crazier, signing Soto to $600 million contract or getting Bonds out of retirement to be a full-time DH? Hey, reset the clock for Bonds, right?
We'll see.
Yeah, look.
Hey, Mike's in the house. Hey, Mike.
do you really think it's going to take 600? I don't know, man. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't. Come on. Ohtani got 700 million for the simple fact the guy's a unicorn. He pitches very good and he can hit the hell out of the ball. So that I understand that. Soto.
Depends how many years. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes. But I don't see. Do you see it top? Well, it might. We'll see. We'll see.
Like,
but the Giants can afford it though. So I could care less. The
But
Giants can afford it.
do you see a ton of development in one season? You've seen what you've seen with Birdsong and Harrison. Is next year going to be some monumental change? We get like big years out of them, Eric? Dead air. See, does it every time.
I don't know. To jump in, I mean, I think it's the same exact thing I said with like Matos, and it's just inconsistency. It's when are these guys going to find command? It's when it's the time is certainly ticking. I think a little bit more for Harrison than Birdsong, just because Birdsong is younger and made his debut this year. But I seriously think they're going to have to either move those guys to the bullpen or seriously figure out a way to make the rotation more consistent. And we don't know what's going to happen, long term of Robbie Ray and whatnot and Snell, because the rotation could look so different next year outside of Logan Webb, right? Because we don't even know.
Right. Robbie Ray, that's all we know. We know it's going to be Webb and Ray probably.
Yeah.
After that, up in air.
And
Mike, it's the bank book. Bank book. Give him bank.
Would you go sign Jack Flaherty?
I mean, I think so. I think if you're
cheaper,
Snell,
cheaper than Snell, cheaper than Burns, cheaper than
great
Freed,
trade,
probably.
Great deadline acquisition this year.
Yeah, by the Dodgers, absolutely.
Also,
okay.
And they know how to do it.
Here we go. This is a question that I've tried to answer on these different live shows. He goes, Eric, what do you think you have to do to convince Juan Soto to come here? The thing is what does Juan Soto want? Okay, if I've said this a million times. If he wants to get paid and if he wants to be the guy, San Francisco is the place to go, because what other superstar in the Bay Area is there other than Steph Curry right now?
Like in the Niners,
in the Bay Area. Who other than Steph?
Maybe.
Who?
Like Christian McCaffrey, maybe?
Okay.
I don't know.
Now, if Juan Soto came to the San Francisco Giants, would he not be the guy right behind Steph Curry?
He would. I think he would, because I think that
could be. His face would be all over the Bay Area, all over Northern California, right?
The Niners are so star-studded. I feel like even McCaffrey's a microcosm of how good they are. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to beat Curry,
right?
But yeah,
there you go, right? And the Giants can afford it because they got a shit ton of money. The only thing the Giants don't have is if he wants a ring now, even though he's got a ring already. If he's looking to get a ring now. The Giants can't do that. His numbers, dude, Oracle Park can't contain it. You can't contain him. When he was with the Padres, when he was with the Yankees, we
thought earlier this year, he can hit.
He clobbers the ball in Oracle Park. It can't. So maybe the numbers won't, necessarily be skewed because the guy is talented. Look, and you know what? It's not all about the home run ball with Juan Soto. He goes up there. Who did he win a ring with, Mike? The Washington Nationals, man, 2019, dude. He's a professional hitter. He drives the ball. Yes, he'll hit his home runs, but the guy has an amazing eye, and he's going to give you a quality at bat every single time. He makes the team better. Look, that's what you sell Juan Soto. Why would he say no? If you're going to offer him the bag and to be the guy, and if that's his priority, there's no reason why he wouldn't say no to San Francisco.
And he's going to be the first player since probably Bonds.
Yeah. He was 19 years old, Mike, when he showed up.
He's going to be the first player since Bonds. That's going way back. The people are actually going to pay tickets to come to watch.
Yes, and that's another side effect. You're going to be putting butts in seats if that's what you really want. He's going to be
to your point, Eric. Like, I think it really depends on the type of person that Juan Soto is, sort of behind the scenes. Like, we don't really know. Does he have to be the number one guy? Because if he doesn't, then I don't see why he doesn't stay in New York. If he's content with being that number one, number two, kind of 1A, 1B with Judge, and maybe even other guys, they're just such a star-stacked team. But I agree though. If he wants to be that number one guy, the alpha male player that everyone comes to see, yes, I think San Francisco's there's no reason he shouldn't come here really, unless, the ballpark. I mean, yeah, you're right. The ballpark can't contain him in what we've seen. I mean,
Right.
we haven't seen them in 81 games. I'll play devil's advocate with that. But I think, like, it's going to be hard to rip him from New York. But I think that, like you said, the selling point is San Francisco as a sports city and a market is sort of entering a transition phase where, the fans love the sports, but the teams have not been really producing at the rate they should be, outside of the Niners, I guess. But, these past, 2 or so years, when it should be with the amount of money here. And I think Juan Soto is a perfect fit for the Giants.
I think he is.
Yeah.
But whatever.
But you have to compete with other teams too. You have to remember, like, Dodgers or anything, and it's tough. It's tough.
To be honest with you, I honestly think the Giants can outspend the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets. Well, maybe not now, even the Mets, because every single one of those teams are way over the cap, and they may not. It's up to them whether they want to stay over it or not. But I think that the Giants are in the driver's seat in being able to outbid all of those teams. Again, it's all up to whether or not he wants to come to San Francisco and being the guy and getting paid.
And I told Eric,
and honestly, the Giants are good.
Eric, I've told Eric Casey that don't underestimate the competition for the entertainment dollar coming to San Francisco's summer next year. The WNBA is selling out their season tickets. I've already got mine. And they're going to be playing they're going to be competing with the San Francisco Giants, or maybe the San Francisco Giants are going to be competing with them.
Yeah,
they're putting 20,000 people in the seats down 4 blocks down the street.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They've never had competition in the summer in the Bay Area. They've been they're the only team here in the Bay Area.
The A's are going to be gone too.
Right.
The A's will be gone. They corner the market in baseball, so they have the opportunity right before them. They do.
Yeah. No, literally. Yeah. They literally no competition outside of the WNBA next year. Because, I mean, I don't know. I'd be interested to see, like, how, like, the demographic is. Like, you're losing the A's, but you're adding in women's basketball. I don't know how that really changes much, but we'll see. We'll certainly see. I didn't think about that.
We're only getting 5,000-6,000 people in a game, and there's going to be 20,000 on game nights down the street. Like I say, I won't be. I'm at the Giants games this year. I won't be next year. I'm going to be down at the Chase Center.
Yeah, we'll see.
I love basketball. I love women's basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about that. It's a good point. I think the Giants are going to have to capitalize on the fact that they don't have the brand recognition that they had of those 2010 teams. They don't have a Buster Posey.
No, I just said that to Eric the other day. I said you would go to other country. You go to Japan. You go to Korea. And they'd be wearing a hat like you've got on.
Yeah.
And that logo, that has disappeared from the baseball landscape around the world.
Yeah. It has. It's sad. And that's because this team has in some ways lost pride about, going after and winning. And they've tried to stay competitive. They spent like they have, and they've made the postseason, but it's not the same. It's a different era of Giants baseball, and it's sad.
It is.
Yeah.
And this dovetails great into this chat here. It says we are talking about Farhan against Sabian. My money on Sabian. Look what the Giants were able to do under Sabian. It's unbelievable. If they had the third wild card back when Sabian is around from the beginning, they would be. They already had a lot of playoff appearances. Not to mention the World Series of 10, 12, and 14. I mean, it would have been incredible. Look at this. With the expanded third wild card, Farhan can't even get the team into the third wild card the last 3 years, and to include this year. It's ridiculous, man. That's why I just want Farhan to be gone. And again, maybe they're cutting them back a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean,
go out and spend the big money, because you can't live on these promises year after year after year after year. And that's all it's been. Shitty provinces. Well, wait till next year, these guys are coming up for the minors. And then the guys who should be up in the minors didn't start this year. They were back in the minors. Isn't it hard to believe that Ramos goes to the All-Star game and he was the first cut from our camp?
Ridiculous, man. That just shows.
That's not knowing your talent.
Yeah.
Of course it doesn't. Of course. It's That's why they got to move on from him. They have
and
to.
look and look
rocket
at,
appliances.
416 wildcard spots.
So how much do you give him? 10 years, $62 million a year.
Oh
to
Lord,
start.
what? Damn, dude.
What?
620?
Yeah, to start. You.
I'd go
That's
12.
what
I'd go maybe 12. Maybe
10, 620.
10, 620. Whew. I think
For a
they,
25-year-old that you want to build a franchise around, Eric, this is your
Yeah.
opportunity. This may be the last opportunity for a while.
I don't think you even have to go that high. Maybe 10, 620. Woo. Woo.
I mean, if we're looking at because you brought up the third wild card and the whole idea of that and
Yeah.
why the Giants haven't been able to make it, like look at the other teams that are making it, not just this year, and potentially like the Braves and Mets and Padres and stuff, but like these past few years, the teams that make it have consistency and star power, and those are two things the Giants just don't have.
Correct.
Like I think we could talk for hours on this. Like we've circled back on this already, but like that wild card is so interesting because it's a sort of a given that the Giants are just not going to win the division every year. Unfortunately, it's a sad
Right.
reality with the Dodgers, so they have to make that wild card. And making the wild card is very difficult, but I feel like it comes with consistency, being able to beat out those other teams, win games down the stretch, and with the those other teams I mentioned, the Braves to some extent, the Mets, the D-backs, the Padres, the four teams that are fighting for those spots have that. And you could look at other years too, like last year the D-backs going from the wild card to the World Series with Corbin Carroll, electric players and guys that they developed themselves. And I don't know, I just don't know if Farhan's gonna be able to do that with his own mental capacity and
I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're right. Honestly, you're right.
Casey, you just said about star power. With the star power will come the wins. And with the star power will come the excitement. It just changes the entire landscape, the whole philosophy. It just changes the entire direction of the team, for the players, for the fans, for all of us.
Yeah.
I would rather go and watch a crappy team if I've got something to cheer for. I've had nobody to cheer for.
It's been tough, hasn't it?
My biggest cheer this year was the other day. I go, oh my God, Encarnacion's in the lineup. It got me excited. There's nobody to cheer. You think I'm buying my ticket and going, my pom-pom and going, yay, Conforto. Yay, Yaz.
No.
Mike Wazowski out in right field. No. I need a guy to root for.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Ramos has kind of gotten a little bit there, but yeah, you need something more.
We haven't just, haven't seen enough yet. Yeah.
See the name there? Joe Lacob. See? That should scare you. That guy will get it done, Eric. There's an owner.
He's a competitor. He wants to compete.
He owns a team to win. And I've said it with Eric multiple days. The guys in the chat have heard me say this over and over. But when you've got an organization with 30 owners, who the hell's pulling the puppet strings there? How do you make decisions? Are they content to make their bucks and then
I don't know how that
wine
works.
and cheese in the gallery at the ballpark and a night out? Or you're there to win?
Correct. Yep. No, you're absolutely right, Anonymous. You got to develop too. That's why in the little movie I got Fitzgerald and Ramos and Lee, even though you don't really develop him, he's a free agent, and Eldridge, because I think a combination of Soto with those guys with another good free agent, you're working with something.
Yeah.
Eric, I don't agree with that. Pull that up again. I don't agree with that.
What's that?
You can't buy your way to a World Series. The Toronto Blue Jays won back-to-back World Series and bought both teams. Roger Clemens, Ricky Henderson, the list, the pitching, Dave
Joe
Stewart.
Carter, yeah.
They bought 2 World Series, so you can't say you can't. If you've got some young players like the Ramoses and the Fitzgeralds, you can buy your team around those guys.
You can.
You don't need players that are homegrown.
I think what he's trying to say is more for sustainment. That's what I'm guessing. If you want to have that sustained success, it's hard to do that because sometimes you just
Major League Baseball, Eric. You got 30 teams here. You're not going to win every year.
True.
Pick a window, get in that lane, and go for
I
it.
think I'd argue you need both. Like
gonna warm
in
up
some
my coffee.
capacity.
Yeah, I think you need both. But to say you can't buy your team, you can go out and you can buy. If you're willing to spend the money and get the stars and the elite talent, you're going to win.
And it's all
Or
yeah,
you're going to be competitive. That's the word that's lacking: competitiveness.
and it's about fit. Like, look at the 2021 Atlanta Braves, right? Like, if they don't go out and yes, they didn't buy the players, but they made big, Eddie
Exactly.
Rosario, Jorge Soler, Adam Duvall. If they don't make those trades, they probably don't win that World Series. And so some of it is, having a keen eye for, who's available in the market, as opposed to, just willy nilly, buying guys that aren't going to fit. But I think you need both, certainly. I mean, we look at teams like the Giants themselves, the Giants that won the World Series, back in, 2010, 12, 14, like they had a good mix of both. Guys like Madison Bumgarner and Posey, who they developed, but guys like Hunter Pence, who didn't start out with them originally, guys that they sought out. And I think you need that intelligence, right? And a keen eye, call it Moneyball, but I think it's really more having an appreciation for other players that, maybe like a Heliot Ramos, guys that weren't necessarily highly touted.
But that's the difference between a Sabian and a Zaidi.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting it done.
Yeah.
And you're down in Southern California, so I know Eric doesn't like this topic, and
yeah,
I'm just curious. Now we're I guess this time a month from now, we're a month out from the opening round of the postseason. What's the feeling in LA with the talent they've got there and how they're inching their way toward the postseason? What's it like down there?
Yeah, honestly, I do hate to think about the Dodgers, but
me too. Me too, but we live in reality, and they're going to be there. They're going to win the division, and they're going to be there. And what do you think of their chances?
I mean, I think from an excitement standpoint in the area, it is pretty high, and it feels a lot higher. I was a student here last year. It feels a lot higher than last year, obviously because of Ohtani, and because just the amount of star power they have outside of him, and
yes,
and the new player,
and that's where I'm going with it. We
and
don't have any of that.
Yeah. But I think too, when you have new players because I think about Jack Flaherty, Michael Kopech, and those two, and Teoscar Hernandez, all these guys that weren't with the Dodgers last year.
Yep.
And to think the impacts they've all made, this year, it excites fans in a different way. I think it'd be super exciting if Tyler Fitzgerald was an all-star next year and hit 310. That would be exciting, but I don't think it would be nearly as exciting as if the Giants picked up a guy that we haven't watched before and did the exact same thing or better. Because I think fans love, I don't know what it is, but fans just love when there's something,
just
a new
latching
toy
onto the train and letting it roll.
Yeah, a new toy, something to work with, something to ignite the flame. And I think that's what the Dodgers have every year, pretty much, but especially this year because of Ohtani and Teoscar Hernandez and Michael Kopech, who they picked up and has been phenomenal, and Jack Flaherty.
Yeah.
It feels just different this year. So, yeah.
That's why I ask you. I say, because it's not just you've got the superstar, and look at the stars. I mean, in most organizations, can you imagine if we had Mookie Betts? And he's not the superstar in LA, and Hernandez. And there's just so many great players in that lineup. And that's why, I mean, it's apples and oranges when you compare the situation here in San Francisco and what the atmosphere must be like there with the postseason just around the corner. I mean, it must be shooting for the stars this year.
Can't even imagine. Yeah.
Eric, what did you do? Oh, don't tell me you warmed up the coffee. Eric and I said we'll do an hour every time we.
We're good. I'm not. Look,
2 or 3.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go. Nope. I've got my.
And I'm doing the show on the road here, Casey. I'm up in Canada, and
wow.
When did we finish the show last night? I didn't get off the air here till 2:30 in the morning, Eric.
Yeah, I know. My gosh,
wow.
That was. Yeah. Upcoming free. We already did that, Alex. If you go take a look back early in the show, we brought up the list of free. I still got it up, but.
Hey, did you not to get into full details here? Casey, did Eric reach out to you about a little project we've got going on?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
What's
Do you ever put up the email address there? Why don't you email me?
Oh, yeah. Here, want to put the email first?
Yeah, put up the email. Giant Sports, easy. Giant Sports Talk Live.com,
new
website.
Oh, awesome.
There's our contest enter, but if you email us at giantsportstalklive@gmail.com,
Oh, at Gmail. My bad. Let me fix that.
Yeah.
Oh no,
wait,
that's the website, not the email. You want the email up there?
Yeah. GiantSportsTalkLive@gmail.com.
There
There it is. Shoot me an email.
There you go.
Will you do that?
Yeah.
Right on.
Will do. Will do.
Just give me your information, your phone number, and I'll get in touch with you right away.
Awesome.
Right on. Where are we at here? There was someone who's saying something here.
Oh, how's school going?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's been, we're in Dodger. I was talking with Glenn. I'm in Dodger land, so
Yeah, gotcha.
It's hard, being the.
How many credit hours you taking this semester?
I'm taking 16. So
right on.
Yeah, pretty busy schedule, but trying to make time to watch the Giants, hop on a show like this and enjoy life. But it's been great.
So you're studying the medias, right?
Yes, I'm studying like sports broadcast.
So where do you play? So I did 18 years of play-by-play in hockey, AHL, NHL, very little baseball. My whole career was doing play-by-play in hockey. Is that what you want to do? Play-by-play? What sports do you want to cover?
Yeah.
What about other things? I've done a little bit of media, like I've done a little bit of sports writing, which quite frankly, it didn't interest me at all. I've read morning news in a major market, and I hated getting up at 4 a.m. to do that job.
Oh, God.
Is there anything that you really have your eyes set on? Or what are they telling you about, after your education has come to a close? What are the specifics about getting a job at your age now in the media?
Yeah.
As perhaps it was when I finished my journalism career.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I'm really into play-by-play as well. I'm trying to be versatile, so like baseball, basketball, football, hockey. I'm actually doing a volleyball game this week, like a USC women's volleyball game.
Oh, he's got me beat already. Oh, I'm waving the white flag. There is no way in hell I'm calling a volleyball game, Eric. Good Lord, the guy's got talent.
Thank you. Yeah,
or balls, one of the two.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I'm interested
volleyball.
In all that. Reading news, doing all that reporting. But yeah, I'm really into play-by-play, and luckily here you have a lot of good resources. And like you brought up, like getting a job outside of college, like you're obviously not going to start, calling games on ESPN, but you can get into it, and that's kind of what I want to sort of get my foot into is on air, play-by-play, radio, all that sort of fun stuff. But I'm really interested in hockey too. The USC has, not many people know USC has a hockey team, and they compete in the ACHA, so the Pac-8, and I am the play-by-play voice of that. So I also am into.
Look at that!
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah,
good for you.
Thank you.
You're a big Sharks guy too, right?
You have your
big Sharks fan.
So it's not just a sports media. You say they've got you got to do the news too, and other journalism within your courses.
Yeah, you have to be versatile.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many years is the program?
4. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
mine was 4. I only took half a term.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I had to quit. I got offered a full-time gig doing play-by-play after 6 months of college.
No
University, actually. So I got lucky. But I was one of the few. They had so many. I don't know what it's like in your course. I went in the first day and I went, oh, I'm pretty cocky anyway. I got a big mouth. So I walked in. I'm like, oh, geez, this is going to be a cakewalk. Because the first 10 people I meet, they're like, hi. I'm like, how you doing? I want to be a journalist. I want to be on the radio. I was like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah. I think it really comes down to like who actually wants to do it, who wants to, put their talent to work kind of thing. And I think that's why the program's good here. It's because, you really learn a lot about yourself.
Can I give you one word of advice?
Sure. Yeah.
Take it from an old fart like me.
Sure.
Don't ever that's why I was able to work it. I'm still in radio. I'm still working in radio. I've been doing radio now for something like 43 years. I've been making a pretty good living at it. Last year I got to work. I covered the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs playoff series, made like $17,000 for 8 days.
Wow.
It was easy.
That's awesome.
Never turned down an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I made it where I was. It was simply because I was versatile. And when they went, there's nobody to read morning news. And I'm like, well, geez, there's like 1.5 million people in the market. And I'm like, I'll do it. knowing that I didn't want to do it, and I wouldn't want to get out of bed, closing the bar at 2 a.m.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
But on the air at
Yeah.
6 in the morning, you got to be versatile, man. I wanted sports so badly. It says in my high school yearbook, it's like Glenn will be the play-by-play voice of a professional hockey club. And then, I told Eric, I go back to my high school reunion every year, and they're like, "Oh my God, you are the epitome of what everybody should graduate to be." The only problem is, I graduated the same year as a guy who became a movie star. He's in 36 movies.
Oh man!
So we get to the reunion. I'm forgotten 5 minutes in. They're like, the award once again, the 35th anniversary award at the reunion goes to, and they always give him the award for the best career. I'm like, crap.
Shit.
There's always one in the room. Anyway, now he's doing, his career is kind of piddled out. He does like 20 Hallmark movies a year in LA.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, crap. So I didn't have the ladies back then. I still don't have the ladies, do I? And don't do it for that. Don't do it for I remember when I first started them, it was all about, I told Eric the request line would ring. Request line, I was talking to everybody. Now the phone rings for an hour. I don't even answer it. No prestige. It's work now. But I'm glad you're doing well there, Casey. Just
thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. And if they ask you to do anything, just go out of your way to be versatile.
Appreciate the advice. Yeah, I definitely will do that. Yeah, I always want to.
Versatility is the key to success, man.
Yeah,
and then word gets around, or when you take on those versatile roles, somebody hears you doing. You might think, "Oh God, I don't want to be a newscaster," and then all of a sudden, they find you, they hear you, and boom, get a big career ahead of you and big payday.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome.
Maybe I'll be hearing him. You'll be in the big leagues. I'll be hearing him in the big leagues.
You never know. Hey, remember when we had that guy on Giants Sports Talk Live? Don't forget us on your way up, man.
I'll come back on the show. Don't worry.
Right on, man.
Yeah. Don't forget to email me. Giants Sports Talk Live.
I got
at gmail.com. Send me an email right after you get off there, and just give me your. I'll have your email obviously, and give me your phone number, and I'll get in touch.
I will. Yeah.
All right.
I'll do that. Yeah.
We're getting ready to wrap it up soon here, Eric.
Yes, we are. Casey, man, much appreciated. We'll bring you back on.
Buddy.
Maybe next week. How about that? Sound good? Next week?
Sounds good to me. Yeah. Love
right on, man.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you.
You betcha. Take care, Casey.
Always welcome.
Right, you
Thanks,
too.
buddy.
Have a good night, guys. Bye.
See you, buddy.
All right. There was Casey. That dude's awesome, man.
You know what? I like the guy.
I like the kid.
You know what I see? I see a little Glenny right there. I see a little Glenn.
Did you see this? Where is it right
Glenny
here?
40 years ago.
I'm seeing a mini Glenn. There you
Honest
go.
To God, I'm seeing a little guy there. I want to mentor that guy.
Nice. That's
I want to
awesome.
mentor that guy.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, skaters, I gotta address you. Am I still pissed off about Chapman? A little bit. I've calmed down a little bit. If you watch the beginning of the show, you'll see what I was talking about. I'm not gonna go all over again. It's too much. We're ready to close it down.
Grand Admirals all over the place tonight, Eric.
He is, man.
Got us trading Tibbs.
Why not?
He's got us signing about 6 free agents. And oh my God.
Hey, whatever it takes to make the team better. That's all I'm saying.
Farhan is going to get somebody like Hoskins, Canna, and Kim, who's playing currently for San Diego. I don't see it.
Who knows?
I don't see it.
We'll find out. I'll tell you, one thing is guaranteed. Excitement is guaranteed in the off season because something's going to happen but the excitement could be positive or negative.
Yeah.
That's what it could be. Oh my gosh.
I still can't believe they got 28,000 people at the ball yard today, Eric.
Yep.
People are going, and it only shows that people will support a lackluster product too in San Francisco. A Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
So, like, you ever see the movie Pride of the Yankees? Lou Gehrig's mom goes to her first ball game. She's like, so many people who don't want to work for a living. Like 28,000 people in the Bay Area decide that, hey, I got some time to go to a ball game.
Hey, Glenn, this guy's right up your alley. Alex
Who's this?
Costantino says, unpopular opinion, except for you, Encarnacion is opening day lineup next year.
Oh, freaking, I put him in left field, Eric. Not
How about a DH?
No hesitation.
You could use him as a DH too. Maybe that could be it.
Again, versatility with a big bat. And he's been hitting the ball, right? He was a 300 minor league hitter when people said, oh, he came from the Mexican League. He'll never hit. He was batting 340. He's been hitting the ball well. He's getting a base hit every game he plays, Eric.
Yeah,
I love him. I love that. See, he's the kind of guy I can go to the ballpark.
I could see that. I could
root for. And he still has that persona as the underdog. You want to root for him. So
here we go.
Great comment.
Alex, how about this, Alex? Because I've seen you mention him before. How would you feel about Soto, Adames, and Encarnacion? Okay, we're working with something there, right? So then your lineup could be, who would you lead off? You'd have Fitzgerald. You have Soto. You would have Ramos. Who would you have cleanup? I guess maybe Encarnacion. I don't know if he's your.
No, I think.
But you have Encarnacion. You have Willie Adames. Right? So then, hold on. Let's just do that. Instead of the lineup, let's do the outfield. In left field, you got Ramos. In center field, you got Lee. In right field, you can have Soto. Right? Then you have Chapman. Then you have Willie. Look, Chapman, Willie Adames, Fitzgerald. But then you got first baseman is eventually going to be Eldridge.
Oh, now we're jumping years ahead. All right, I see what you're doing here.
Is that good? That's good. That's not years.
I like what you're doing. I like what you're doing, but I think you got a more realistic chance having Bo Bichette at shortstop.
So Bo Bichette, would you take Bo Bichette over Adames?
I don't know about that, but I think he's the more realistic signing for the Giants.
But that could be something. And honestly, even if
and you know one thing,
that could be
able to hit very well. You know what that will bring you? You know what a Bo Bichette in a Giants uniform that will bring you excitement.
DH could be Encarnacion. Catcher would be Bailey, of course.
I like Encarnacion.
I like that. I think you're working with something, right? Ramos, Lee, Soto,
built like a beast.
Chapman, Adames, Fitzgerald, and then eventually Eldridge. Bailey behind the dish, Encarnacion, your DH, and then if you want to go get a left-handed bat somewhere. You could, if you want to. As far as the DH is concerned, it's up to you. If you want to.
Eric, I think you've got 7 months ahead of you putting up with Jesus there.
It's okay, man. He's dedicated.
I've heard. I must have seen 18 different. He's not coming here. Quotes from Jesus.
It's okay. It's okay. He may not. But hey, Jesus. How about if I'm right?
D-Shot thinks you and I are crazy. Encarnacion is not.
Isn't.
Good.
Yeah. Why not? I say give him a shot because your lineup's already deep enough. If you're rolling with Soto and Ramos and Adames, Fitzgerald, Jung-Hoo Lee, to an extent Chapman, you're doing okay. Come on, you're doing something.
And this is all, this is all predicated on getting a deal done, getting guys signed. And you got to know what they're like when you bring them into you said right off the start of the show tonight, Eric. What did you say? You said
2024.
The guy in the dressing room.
Oh, yeah, he is 100%.
He's the guy in the dressing room. He's a leader. So what are you going to do? Are we going to spend 7 months ourselves? Sign this guy.
Yep.
Look at what happened in Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to sign players and have them hiding out in another country, Eric.
Yeah. Well, that was a one-off. That was a one-off.
I don't know. You got to get the right. What I'm saying is you got to get the
right guys. Yes, I get it. I 100% understand. You got to understand the person just as much as you have to understand their talent. I get it.
Hey, if this is true, I haven't checked his stats for a while, Eric. But no, Maiko says Encarnacion is 258, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, and a stolen base, and 66 at bats, and he's been doing it off the bench. I'm happy with
off the bench. Yeah. Off the bench.
He's another guy I want to see play September baseball.
But they're not. They're not even playing Luciano every day. He wasn't in the lineup today. Oh, hey, by the way, should we talk about tomorrow's game before we get out of here?
Eric, we haven't even done the scoreboard of the standings yet.
Son of a... What happened?
Why I said 2 hours and 15 minutes. Man. Are you doing the 3-hour marathon?
Holy
or are we just skipping today's scoreboard and saying the San Francisco Giants posted a 9th inning walk-off win and be done with it?
Man, we were having such a great conversation with Casey. I totally freaking forgot about that. Good God. Let's
You
get
know,
this show.
there's people out there, Eric. People out there texting me. Said
What kind of organization are we running here?
I would have got Chapman 3 years, no more than 25 a year. Giants are going nowhere without a superstar, and a superstar he is not. So 3 years, maybe you just don't get the deal done for 3 years. Maybe there's a lot. Things are gonna unravel, and we're gonna find out more about this deal in the coming days, weeks, and months, Eric.
Yes.
The reasoning, what brought this all together, why get the deal done, why have them sit out a game in September to get this deal done? Something going on.
They said they've been working on this deal for a year, according to Morris. Go check it out. NBC Sports Bay Area.
A month, not a year.
They said it took them a month to get this deal done.
A month
today.
Yeah, you said a year. I'm like,
no, a month. It took them a month to get this.
But listen, do you got to sit a guy out of the lineup for a weeknight of baseball to sign the contract? I don't.
That's what they did yesterday. You know what they probably did yesterday? Maybe they did the physical yesterday. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah, Glenn.
I saw Boras at the press conference today, though.
You saw him? Yeah, Boris. Go listen to his interview. Alex Pavlovich had like a 5-minute interview.
He doesn't look very happy for a guy who's got the millions that he does.
Yeah, he always looks kind of smug. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's why he and Farhan get along so well.
Hey, management is yelling in my ear. Let's get this done.
And now, a Giant Sports Talk Live scoreboard update.
All right, here we go. We got final in Cincinnati. Astros beat the Reds. No, Astros lose to 1-0. What happened there?
1-0 Reds. Meanwhile, in Tampa Bay, Twins beat the Rays 4-3.
Yep. And in LA, Mariners beat the Athletics 6-4. Kind of saw that one coming.
Y'all know what happened today at the Ball Yard as Patrick Bailey had the ground rule double. For what it's worth, it was in the gap, so the game was over. 3-2, they walk it off. Meanwhile, in Miami, the Marlins drop a 5-2 score to the Phillies. Phillies are looking good. 84th win of the year.
Yep. And in Pittsburgh pulls it out, beats the Nationals 9-4.
Don't tell me the Braves won. No.
They lost. Uh-oh.
3-1, the final score. I'm sure we can take a quick peek at the standings in a second. That one was in Atlanta, and they're stuck at 76 wins.
Yep. And in Texas, the Rangers pull ahead of the Angels 3-1. Aldalis Garcia puts the Rangers ahead. Oh, look at that with a 3-run dinger. So it was his work alone that had led the Rangers to victory. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise there. Austin Meadows, a 2-out grand slam in the ninth. Down 3-0. Down 3-0. Meadows, a grand slam, 4-3.
Who gave it up? Was it their new closer that gave it up?
You want me to look it up? I'll tell you right now, Eric.
I'll bring up the standings as you do that.
Stats at my fingertips. The pitcher for the Padres would have been Robert Suarez.
Oh, it wasn't. Okay, it wasn't their closer. They got Tanner Scott, right? Yeah. Remember they got Tanner Scott from Miami for Holy crap, man. How about that? All right, here we go. Standings time.
All right.
Padres sitting on top. Arizona Diamondbacks in at number 2. Mets and the Braves are tied. Look at that. Whoo! That's going to be a race right there. That is going to be a race for that second. Maybe, if the Mets keep it up, they're not far behind from the Diamondbacks, nor are they from the Padres. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to watch this last month of regular season.
That's why I like having the extra teams in the wild card race.
I hear what you're saying.
That was the only thing Matt Stairs said he liked about rule changes. He goes, I hate rule change, but you need that to prolong baseball. I mean, all the races are pretty much over in August, right? So it makes baseball exciting for you and I. I look forward to doing this each night and each morning with you, taking a look at this particular screen.
It's fun. Giants are now, instead of 8.5, now they're 7.5 back behind because of the win today. And
but the Reds just the game back.
Reds are only a game back. The Reds made
2.5 back of the Pirates. That's how pathetic this has turned out to be.
Yeah. Hey, let's take a look at the American League just real quick. Yankees.
Do we have to?
First, Twins in the second, Kansas City Royals in the third. Ooh, they got a comfortable lead there. So maybe the Kansas City Royals, because I know they were falling on hard. Yeah, see the last 10, they were 3-7. So There you go. Tigers. Look at that. Tigers only 5 out from the third wild card. Never
Yeah,
know.
A little too late. Late.
I think
Look at those guys they'd have to catch.
Yeah. It's
Kansas
again.
City, Minnesota. No.
Anyone been
You know what?
eliminated? Of course.
You know what? I tip my hat to that organization. The Minnesota Twins, Eric, are there every freaking year.
Yeah, they are. They have been for the last few years. They got a good organization.
They're not doing it with all-star talent, Eric.
Exactly. You know,
Same with Milwaukee.
Cleveland is getting it done as well. They don't got all these. I mean, don't get me wrong, they got J-Ram, but everyone else, man. Well, J-Ram and Class A, that's their superstars for the most part. Stephen Kwan's a pretty good player, but I mean, goodness gracious, it's awesome. I can't wait for freaking playoff baseball. You're going to be able to, and those of you who are watching, even though we're called Giant Sports Talk Live, during the postseason, you could catch all the post-game coverage right here on Giant Sports Talk Live. We'll make sure we'll be covering.
Actually looking forward to it. The way
it's going to be fun.
Playoff
baseball, man. I love playoff baseball. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And the new channel should be up and running by then.
New channel? New channel?
The new channel, Eric.
Oh, I know where you're getting.
Coming soon, Northern California's newest home for the best sports coverage. The evolution of Bay Area sports. The Golden State Warriors, San Francisco Giants, San Jose Sharks, the 49ers, sports commentary, and more. Start your day and end your day with the Bay Area's best sports coverage. All sports, all year long. Coming soon. A Northern Lights Entertainment production.
There we go.
So the Giants with a 3-2 win. Will the real Blake Snell please stand up? He goes 1 inning today, despite the fact we did get the win. We'll talk more about this and more baseball tomorrow morning. Giant Sports Talk Live, the morning edition, Eric.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks for showing up today. We had thanks to our guest, Casey. It was awesome. He brought a lot to the table. Appreciate it. Big crowd today.
Hey,
again,
before
guys,
we go, can you answer riddle me one? How many we got up there now? Follow us. Haven't done an update. Let's do our own scoreboard update.
We're sitting at 314. 314.
All right.
Not bad.
If you are new to the channel, would you please hit the subscribe button and like our channel? We really appreciate that.
Yeah, awesome. Again, we couldn't do the show without you guys. We appreciate you guys.
Love the chat.
You guys bring
chat was
so much to
again
the table.
Tonight.
You guys bring so much to the channel. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, we couldn't sit here and be talking for 2 hours and 22 minutes if it wasn't for you guys out there contributing to the discussion. You guys are just much of look, me and Glenn are up here, doing our thing, but we couldn't do this without you guys. So
like Matt would say, we're here shooting the breeze with these guys, right?
Absolutely.
All right, see you tomorrow. Bright and early.
Yep. See you guys bright and early, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night after Giants versus San Diego. I think it's going to be a late one, isn't it? It's going to be another late one. All right, guys. See you tomorrow.
Get my beauty sleep.
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.